Rio Monday and Tuesday. America's listening to Fox News.
Have you thought about the causes the brands you support stand behind? Well, Pure Talk supports our veterans. They've relieved $10 million in veteran debt, donated tens of thousands monthly to prevent veteran suicide, and donated $50,000 to Mike Rowe Works, helping to provide scholarships to veterans after active duty. It's time to jump ship from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
The Morning Extra, only on Extra 106.3.
Morning, y'all. It is Friday Eve. If you stand on your tippy toes, you can see the weekend. It's glorious. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And we're glad that you're here with us on the Morning Extra until 10. Tug, Rhino, and Los. 404-741-1230. 404-741-1230. If you'd like to discuss any of the topics that we get into or bring new to the show, we're always welcoming to that. You can find us at Extra 106.3 too.
Are we?
Yeah, no, I take it back. We don't want to hear from you. I kid. No. How is everybody?
I'm doing great. I didn't like the rain this morning, but besides that,
I know we need it, but yeah, I agree.
What a pain in the butt. And it's cold.
So cold.
It is cold.
Yeah.
God, it was cold.
I hate to start off on weather talk, but that was kind of shocking when I got to the garage this morning and went, okay, it's raining.
Yeah.
Man, it's cold.
It is a little chilly.
I was like, poor Equator Tug, who was like, oh, this is awful.
Dude, last night, I had to pop out of the house for a little bit, and the wind was kicking up and whipping around, and it was freezing, and then they told me it was going to rain. I was just like, oh, God.
Did you get out your steel drum, your Jamaican steel drum, to make you put yourself in a different place person?
Yes, I slid it right back under the bed after I played it for a few minutes. And hopefully the neighbors weren't too offended because it's loud, and it carries, that sound carries. But, y'all, this is the crazy thing. We had I left the back door open because I was working at the basement, and my wife was coming home, and she couldn't get the door to open.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, well, that's weird. I left it all unlocked. So I go up, and because I heard her come into the front door, because I can kind of hear from the basement. I was like, well, that's weird. She never comes to the front door. Always comes to the garage, the back door. And
pull a gun on her?
Yeah. I absolutely threw her down a flight of steps. It was crazy. I was frightened.
I mean, nobody comes through the front door. I get it.
I thought I was frightened about it all. No, but have you ever had the doorknob where, like, whatever the thing, what's that called inside the doorknob? The little thing that latches.
The bolt?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. It wouldn't retract. You could twist the doorknob, but the bolt never retracted.
Yeah, that happens.
I had never seen that happen before.
Uh-oh.
And I was trying to figure it all out last night. Man,
Was it rusted?
No.
Well, you're probably going to have to sell the house now.
And, without a doubt. And have, like,
you
some
have wood
exorcists.
doors?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of, wood expands and contracts depending on weather. So you probably had some kind of expansion or contraction problem there.
I'm guessing so. But I just had never seen it before. And let me tell you, I destroyed the door. So our front door right now.
It's wide open.
No. I guess it's the back door. But I said front door.
Okay.
But it is destroyed completely, so I was either going to put tape over the hole because I can still lock the deadbolt, right?
How sad is that? I'm just going to get some tape.
Not permanently, it's just in the evening.
I know, but it's just that whole beatdown factor.
Dude,
that's your only option is, let me get some tape.
Dude.
Put your I voted sticker over one side of it, that's all.
Yeah, so...
Cut up a Kamala sign and put it on there.
Yeah.
Tape it.
I couldn't find we're completely just no tape in the house. I was hoping for some duct tape because that's redneck chrome.
What was the point? Like, what was your thought process? Because I always laugh when people who, not to any fault of their own, just don't get involved in being like a handyman.
Yeah, and I'm so bad at that.
And they're like, I'm going to tackle this one, and then.
Well, I knew I had to tackle him, but the damn door wasn't open.
Yeah.
So I had to do something, That was just
So
necessity.
you were just like, whatever happens, happens. If it works, great. If not, well, we expected that.
So you and your wife are getting divorced now?
No, she just laughed about it, and I kind of laughed about it too.
I was kind of curious, like if she can't get in.
No, she went through the front door.
Then you made it a point. Then you're never going to get in.
Yeah.
So when you took everything off the door and you have that hole there, did she just look at you and go, "You're about as man as Tim Walls"?
Yeah. God. No, you know what?
He's waving with both hands and kicking his feet.
Yeah.
I broke it.
Laura's not working.
I'm going to try and fix it.
Well, I mean,
Hold on, let me put on my flannel.
yeah, exactly. No, I was thinking that I'm the least manly man in the world, least handy man in the world. And no, she didn't say it, but when I said it, she laughed. Because it's the truth. I'm just not good with my hands. I never have been.
Man.
And it's crazy because my daddy was so good. And I think I've told y'all before, I rejected everything that I should be, being raised in Dalton, Georgia.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be. Through the early part of my life into the early 20s and maybe even early 30s.
So it wasn't cigarettes. It was I'm just going to not learn how to do anything.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, but even the stuff that I tried, I wasn't good at.
Rebel.
Yeah. Well, but he would make me change brakes and I hated it. Just all that stuff. And so now the only thing I want to be is all those things. And obviously it's way too late,
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, it's never too late. The one
I'm
thing
just
I've
bad
learned.
with it.
Are you?
Yes. I have a hard time driving to screw in. My fine motor skills didn't develop. I don't know what it is. It's terrible.
That's a shame.
It is. It totally is.
It's so a shame.
We have a friend of ours who works with the AJC, Brandon Adams, and he's known as like Bulldog Daily.
Yeah.
If you're a Georgia fan, you've probably listened to Brandon Adams at some point. And we have a friend of ours who works down the hall, and he had a leak in his kitchen. And I still remember to this day, it's been about 10 or 15 years, Brandon Adams is on the phone with him. He's like, "You had a leak in your kitchen?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "So what'd you do?" And he's trying to explain what happened. He goes, "Honestly, if I had a leak in my kitchen, I just lay down on the ground and cry." Because the first thing that most of us would do is, all right, let's go turn the water off.
Sure. Turn the water off, of course.
Brandon was like, "I don't even know how to do that in my house."
Oh, no.
He's like, "I would just lay on the ground and cry until somebody came to help me."
I feel slightly better than that.
Yes, because you were still trying to get things done.
Yeah.
My friend Brandon was like, "I'm going to lay on the floor and cry."
So kind of reverse of that, we went up to Hiawassee. We were changing all the locks on both of the houses, and then I was in charge of using my computer to set up and make sure that all the cameras were working, and so that was my job. And Erin was changing out all the locks and deadbolts, and she's putting on the computer keypad one so we can give people numbers if they want to get in and stay over and all those things. And I'm standing there, she's like, "Can you hand me a screw?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I felt kind of like that, well, I know how to do that too. You don't have to show off and do all the handiwork. Let me do stuff. I've been doing this.
But that's what she does for a living.
Yeah.
It's probably just programmed into her.
It was. She just took over, and I'm like, all right.
Have at it.
Now, I did help her go over to a job where she hung a barn door for a bathroom that she just finished, and so that was I was like, all right, I'll be your helper. I'm the heavy lifting guy, lifting the barn door up on the rail, holding stuff for her. So it's kind of fun.
It's funny. At Jacob's, the house that my son is living in Charleston, they were changing out all the locks, and so I changed out all the door handles and all the deadbolts and on that whole house, right?
Yeah.
And I was so proud of myself at the
That's
end.
great,
I was
isn't it? Yeah.
They're like, "Well, you don't got to do this," and I was like, "No, man, I've already started now." It was because the guy that owns it, his wife, who's very handy herself, was doing it, and she was just doing it by herself. And I was like, "Well, you need a hand with that?" And she was like, "Sure." And then we just went.
And you went,
Exactly. I was hoping you were going to say no, but it changed out. I don't know, probably 12 of them, throughout all the bedrooms and the front doors. But for whatever reason, man, I could not figure out the door on my own house. And let me tell you,
Full circle.
I destroyed it. You should see it.
Just in pieces?
The whole inner workings of the doorknob it looks like.
You took it apart like you were some clockmaker. You had to figure it all out.
Yes. Yeah. Well, not that I was
What's
trying.
this part, Jim?
Yeah. It was more like, damn it!
The frustration one. I love that.
Exactly. tore it all to pieces anyway. So
Yes,
my brother-in-law,
that's what a hammer's for.
Yes,
We were joking. Nobody really uses a hammer anymore. I mean, you use it to bang down nails here and there, but most people either have a nail gun or most things you want to do with screws now. And we were joking the other day, the only reason you need a hammer is when you get mad, just to hit things and break them.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Break them apart, redo it.
Yeah, knock it all to pieces. Oh man, what an evening! And it was crazy because the contractor was finishing up, and I swear I'll change the subject, but like contractor's finishing up, asking me about paint, doesn't speak great English. It was the contractor's employee, or whatever. Such a sweet man, but just not. No, it was hard to communicate, and we were trying to go back and forth. And then my phone just would not quit ringing with people that I needed to speak to, but I would just send it to voicemail because I was trying to do 3 things at once, and then the phone just would not. It was one of those moments where I was ready to scream to the top of my lungs. It's just that incredible frustration that happens.
Yes.
Because everything's happening at one time.
Well, I'm glad you made it here.
Yeah, me too, man.
Me too. You look
Glad
great.
you're here sane.
Yeah. Exactly right. So I'm way more
He takes
sane.
a day off because he can't figure out the door.
I can't leave my house. It's wide open.
You don't understand. The door won't work.
I can't close the
I
door.
broke every window in the house, too, but we're not going to talk about that.
Absolutely right. I don't feel as frustrated or as insane as the Democrats in Washington, D.C., however, with these nominations, these appointments. And we can go through the list, but I mean, obviously the big one that no one saw coming was Matt Gaetz. Dude, the meltdown. It's
great.
phenomenal.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's next level. I've never seen anything quite like it. And I love every second of it.
Matt Gaetz is a bulldog. Matt Gaetz is a very, very smart person. One of my favorite things to do, Carlos, is to sit and watch any kind of session he's a part of and then him just tear apart the woke mind of someone and just rip them apart. And that's the kind of bulldog I like. And he also will not take no for an answer. He will continue to get down that path and will fight for what he believes is right every single time.
So the genius of what is going on right now is clearly this is scripted and this is set up in order to maximize the value of these announcements. So, for instance, if you're a college football fan, one of the things that Kirby Smart does is that he'll have all of his recruits and he'll basically tell them, here's your date, here's when you're going to announce. And so what happens is he fills up this recruiting cycle leading up to signing day where 3 more guys announce today, 3 more guys announce the next day, 3 more guys announce the day after that. And so it just seems like, wow, they stay in the news. Matt Gaetz was the last one on that one, where it was, all right, couple people you would kind of expect, and by the time we get to Pete Hegseth, and by the time we get to Tulsi Gabbard, people are like, all right, well, fine, I guess they're going to go ahead and do it. Then you had Matt Gaetz, and it blew everything out of the water yesterday after their previous announcement.
It was so fantastic because you even had Republicans like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, and now Lindsey Graham has come out and said, "Oh, I'm not supporting
I don't
him."
know if I can go ahead and
Oh my
I don't
God!
know if I can confirm
Which
him.
is the exact reason I want Matt Gaetz because that fool says no.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear is that I would love to see Matt Gaetz up there being the bulldog that he is. I just don't know if Senate will confirm him. And there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of senators that are weak, like Carlos just talked about and made fun of a little. But the reality is they're afraid of their jobs. They're afraid of any kind of confrontation whatsoever. And when you look back at Matt Gaetz and what he did in the House and the way he kind of trolled McCarthy and the way he kind of disrupted, he's a disruptor for a reason. He's disrupting for good reason because we'd be able to return this country back to the way it should be. And I think a lot of senators are threatened by that.
So by the time that we find out that you're going to have Thune as the majority leader over in the Senate, I had a couple people that were texting me and they were, frustrated. They were upset. Oh, I can't believe they went with this Rhino. I'm like, well, this is what was going to always happen. I was like, but sit tight. There's going to be some more wins. 4 or 5 hours later, you get Matt Gaetz. And that is the epitome of what is going on right now. This is not a matter of Donald Trump having to pick from Washington establishment members and then try and figure out, will they be loyal? These people are loyal. In fact, one of the biggest challenges is that Donald Trump went against the Freedom Caucus during the primaries. Like, he took out Bob Good, and Matt Gaetz is obviously part of the Freedom Caucus. And yet the Freedom Caucus stayed very loyal to Donald Trump. I think that they understand what he's doing, and at the same time, he understands what they're doing. That's why you're rewarding Matt Gaetz with this opportunity.
Yeah. But look, I think it's great. I think it shakes up D.C. exactly the way I want it shaken up. Like Rhino says, can he get through the nomination process? That's going to be, it's going to be, that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, a lot of everybody else is going to be rubber stamped until we get to Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody else is ready to go.
And maybe that's the plan, right? Maybe you get everybody ready, that way everybody you're getting through, and you don't expect this one to, but this one causes such a shakeup that they're like, well, let's get this done so we can fight this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's almost like Trump planned it out that way.
I think so, and I would hope he gets confirmed because he stepped down from Congress last night and made it immediate. So now you have the opportunity, and I think it's great for Ron DeSantis, by the way, in Florida. Everything that he's getting with Donald Trump tapping some of the people that he gets to go ahead and start picking people for Florida to kind of set up his governorship the way he wants it. But now you have to have a special election as soon as possible in Florida in order to fill Matt Gaetz' seat so that you hold on to that majority that you narrowly have right now. So that's very important. And that's why I hope that senators will take that into account and say, hey, this is important. We need Matt Gaetz because there's no way I can see this government moving on without people like Matt Gaetz. And I think Matt Gaetz is a strong one. Don't listen to the left about the ethics violations and all the things that they've tried to push. It's the same kind of BS they did to Donald Trump. They've already found out this is ridiculous. This is misinformation, and he'll get through it. That's why it's been going on for so long, because nobody wants to touch it.
Then Tulsi Gabbard, which I think is going to be very interesting in the way this shakes out in her nomination process and trying to get her pushed through. She was put on a freaking terrorist no-fly list. And I got to tell you, some of that stuff is going to have to come out during that process, right? And that's going to shine the light on what the Biden administration has been doing this entire time, weaponizing the federal government against its political enemies. All that stuff is going to be on the table because they've got to ask the question, why was this woman put on a no-fly list?
This is a tiny aspect of what's going on, but I think it's important. When you have these people who are being, basically put up for appointment, they do have some sort of skin in the game, some sort of attachment. Imagine when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, of approaching her and saying, hey, they put you on a no-fly list. How would you like to outrank every single person within that department right now? Yeah. Do you not think that she was like, well, hell yeah.
I can't wait to stick it to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Because she's got skin in the game here. She knows what it's like to be burned by a crappy organization that has now gone political.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I look forward of all the nomination and all the process of getting her through the nomination process. I look forward to that one more than any. Yeah. I think Gaetz will be the one with all the fireworks.
Sure.
But this one's the one that's really going to be telling for people like us that have been watching this happen.
This is going to be must-watch TV.
Yeah,
all these committee hearings, every single one of them, I think are going to be amazing to sit back and just watch. The Pete Hegseth one is going to be fun. Yeah, because you're going to sit and see people try to tear down a really good hero like Pete Hegseth. And I think it's going to backfire on any of the Democrats that do, and it'll go to show why they didn't win any seats, they didn't win the House, the Senate, and the presidency this time.
So we are now getting to Thursday. All right, another rabbit coming out of that hat today. I mean, there's something every single day right now that Donald Trump is doing.
He's got to finish this process. So he's got to get everybody nominated, everybody ready. So I think, we'll definitely get the rest of them.
I mean, you got RFK Jr.'s coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that
one's hanging out there.
Right. So I don't know if you do it today. I feel like Friday
sounds like a good one.
Or does then it get lost in the news cycle? Yeah. That's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm.
So it's either today or Monday. If I'm guessing.
That's another one that's hanging out there, and it's going to be, you're running all of this. Everyone's going to go, oh my God, all of it.
He's still got a lot of work to do, President Trump. He's still got executive orders to finish up and writing and getting all the briefs going. So I'd hope he gets it done pretty quick.
Yeah, I think so. I think he will. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3. There is a name out there that I want to see as FBI director, and it has everybody in D.C. shaking in their boots. Isn't it wonderful to see these Democrats squirm and shake and point fingers and mad at each other? It's fantastic, you ask me. Anyway, this person will rock the boat if he is nominated, and that's a big if. Next on Extra 106.3. The Kimmer Show is only on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
She has been handed every single thing because of who she is and what she looks like, not by any accomplishment she did. She would be the first black American woman to win, but she didn't win, did she? No. She was appointed. She didn't get elected by the people because she didn't earn it.
The Kimmer Show, every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
You know, this morning, getting out of that house is going to be a nightmare. God, traffic's going to be terrible because of the rain and people get crazy. But more than that, Los brought it up. I think we and Rhino was also talking about a little bit how cold it is outside because of the rain and the wind. And it's terrible. I wish I was on the equator. But I'm not. I'm here at the ballpark. But home is in Alpharetta. And I know at home, it's comfy and cozy because it was when I walked out the door. And now I'm chilly. I was complaining to Board Op Joey Virgin River. Man, it's cold in here today. Your house can be just like my house, which is where I wish I was, wrapped up in a blanket, all warm and cozy because the house is taken care of. Our central heating and air conditioning is handled by Central Heat. And I tell you, these guys do a better job than anybody else because they're a locally owned company that actually cares about you and your family. They've been operating, Central Heating and Air, been operating in Atlanta since like 1947, second generation locally owned HVAC company in Atlanta. There are not many of them, but Chuck and his team are one of the very few, and they can make your house as comfy, cozy as they've made mine for me and my family. All you need to do is reach out to them, call them, because they will come out today. They'll get it done right away. They have a staff big enough to do that. 770-GET-HEAT or centralheat.com.
Join Braves Vacations for some exciting road trips to historic cities and ballparks during the 2025 season. Fans can enjoy 3 games at Fenway Park in Boston to watch the Braves take on the Red Sox, May 15th through the 19th. Or head to Wrigley Field for 3 games against the Chicago Cubs, August 31st through September 3rd. Road trip packages include deluxe hotel accommodations, game tickets, exclusive events with Braves team personnel, unique excursions, select meals, optional airfare, and more. Visit Braves.com/vacation to learn more.
The end of the year is closing in, and with it, another tax year comes to an end. As you prepare to file your taxes, consider the efficiency of your tax strategy. Have you maximized your IRA and Roth contributions? Do you have an RMD strategy in place? Are you making moves now to maximize your future tax-free income? Not only is the year-end fast approaching, but the 2017 tax cuts sunset at the end of 2025, placing many Americans in a higher tax bracket. Don't just report your taxes, plan for them. Contact Master Plan Retirement Consultants now to create a retirement plan specifically designed for you. Visit masterplanretire.com to schedule your complimentary consultation where we can illustrate your retirement outlook and create a plan together for your future. Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Plan well and prosper.
Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, Inc., a registered investment advisory in the state of Georgia. Insurance, tax, and commodity services offered through Fricks & Associates, Inc., DBA Master Plan Retirement Consultants. The aforementioned are affiliated companies.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Truffles Vein Specialist.
Hi, I'm Holly with Truffles Vein Specialist. We have 5 locations across Atlanta, and even better, our West Cobb location is able to offer same-day appointments right now. We're proud to have been voted Best of Georgia in health and medical time and time again. We specialize in diagnosing and treating DVT or blood clots in the legs and venous insufficiency. If you have leg pain, swelling, heavy or achy legs, bulging varicose veins, spider veins, or pelvic pain, reach out. We'd love to help. We accept most health insurance plans and many treatments are covered. Plus, we offer free vein screenings at all locations. For more information, call us at 678-833-1444 or visit trufflesveinspecialist.com.
Wow, Holly, sign me up. We just love our advertising partners. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Thursday, November 14th. Republicans have won enough seats in the U.S. House to maintain control. Juan Ciscomani defeated Kirsten Engel in Arizona's 6th district, securing the 218th seat for the GOP. This victory completes the Republican Party's sweep into power, ensuring their control of the House, Senate, and the presidency alongside President Donald Trump. 2 linemen were working on a project near Spalding and Little Streets in Griffin when an equipment failure led to a tragic accident. 1 lineman was killed and another suffered serious life-threatening injuries. The city of Griffin has identified the deceased as Eric Weems and the injured lineman as Trent Granger, who remains in critical but stable condition at the hospital. In sports, Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins was included on the team's injury report yesterday after being sacked 3 times and hit 9 times in the Falcons' loss to the Saints on Sunday. Cousins is listed with injuries to his right elbow and shoulder. Despite the injuries, he participated in the team's walkthrough on Wednesday in preparation for Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. I love what Vivek Ramaswamy tweeted out, and it kind of goes along with the thing that we're going to talk about here. Over the last 2 years, the Supreme Court has ruled that the administrative state is behaving in wildly unlawful ways, but slapping the bureaucracy on the wrist won't solve the problem. It's the only thing is a massive downsizing, which he's going to be a part of along with Elon Musk. And it takes me to Kash Patel because he has people scared assless. To steal a Lowe's line. Scared assless for sure. They are horrified of the fact that this guy knows the ins and outs of the FBI. He knows how they're breaking the law. He knows how they're keeping information from you, the American people, and from the people that are conducting investigations internally in the government. And I want y'all to hear from him. This clip's about 90 seconds, but he summarizes it so well. And as you listen, think about what the left is thinking. Right? Because they've weaponized the government, they've weaponized the DOJ, they've weaponized the FBI, they've weaponized it all, and he knows it.
You need a 24/7 declassification office. Sits in the White House, reports directly to you, and you take incoming from the United States of America. I want JFK. I want the 9/11 files. I want this. I want that. What the deep state uses the most to cover up their corruption is an illegal application of the classification system. The Lovebird sex for FBI, DOJ land, Russiagate, Strzok and Page were texting each other. They were running the Russiagate investigation against Trump. They were the head of the counterintelligence unit at the FBI, and they're having an extramarital affair together. Can't make this stuff up. They're sending each other texts about how much they hate Trump and are going to create an insurance policy to stop Trump. Then we finally find those text messages. You know what the FBI and DOJ do for like a year? Redact them to congressional investigators and congressional men and women running the oversight. That's just one example. But it gets even better. Here's the deep state full circle. Just last week, do you know what Strzok and Page received from the Department of Justice?
What?
A $1.5 million payout to settle a lawsuit that Strzok and Page brought for the improper disclosure of their personal text messages on FBI phones. And the DOJ just rewarded them. They broke the law. They broke the chain of command. They broke every regulation there is in the FBI. They weaponized the system of justice against a political target they hated. We found those text messages, and we got them declassified finally in full when I became Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And the world has now seen them, and they can read them. And that's the best form of transparency. That's why I want this 24/7 declassification office. So now you know what happens. That's step one. Step two, get America the truth. And that's what that office would be for.
Transparency. I kept hearing him say that, and I keep hearing Vivek Ramaswamy say it. I keep hearing Elon Musk say it. When they do this and they open up the books and they're clear and honest with the American people, this country is going to grow exponentially in trust and in value. It is going to be a place where people can be comfortable knowing that their government actually works for them, and it all stems from freedom of speech and transparency.
Yeah, I think this is the most important thing that we need is, and this is why everybody's so scared, is these redacted documents that should never have been redacted when sent to members of Congress, by the way.
Who all have security clearances.
Which they all do. And they've done this every single time because they don't want the truth out there. And that's where Democrats are afraid. What they realize is this is going to be literally, unlike what everybody else has said in the past, the most transparent presidency and government that I think we'll ever get. Kash Patel has been great for years talking about a lot of these things and explaining what's going on behind closed doors. The DOJ information that we've asked for, and Jim Jordan and all of them that they've asked for that's been redacted, it's coming to light. Everything that President Trump has talked about, it's coming to light. This is why Democrats are scared. They realize that when their people and their voters hear the truth and realize they've been lied to for this long and misled and filled with propaganda, they may never win again.
I don't know how much truth there is to it. The discussion point of Donald Trump was interested in releasing all the JFK files.
Which is what Kash hit in the beginning.
And that Mike Pompeo was talking about how that's going to do so much damage, you can't do it. That was the discussion point that's been out there for the better part of 3 years. And then Donald Trump kind of added fuel to the fire basically by telling people, if you knew what I knew, you saw what I saw, you would understand. Okay, that's all he's really ever said about it. Man, if you want to talk about that level of transparency, if you want to talk about if you wanted to put fuel on the fire on gutting a government, release files that show that the government killed the president.
Yeah. 100%.
That is when you'll recognize the original sin occurred in November 1963.
Yep.
And this is why we have to take this thing down a whole, not more than just a notch, a lot.
It's almost like when you break a bone, your bone actually grows back stronger. It's kind of like I feel like we need to do with the federal government, right? We need to break it. And then that way it grows back stronger. And I think that's what transparency does, to your point.
Yeah. Oh, I think this is going to be even bigger than just, I love that you have to start there, right? You have to start at JFK and say, hey, this is where it started. And then you have to end with Fauci, the NIH, and what happened in Ukraine with the biolabs there, Wuhan,
all of it.
Institute of Virology, and all the players, including EcoHealth Alliance. You need to end there. But you need to open them up with something that happened a long time ago to show them where it started.
And by the way, at the same time, you're also going to make sure. Oh, and by the way, all these celebrities that you are holding in such high regard, here's what the federal government had on them as well as part of these investigations. Like, why not just let it all out there?
And y'all know I can't stand Hollywood. Oh, I hate them. That's the reason I don't watch movies. It's the reason I'm not into it. And my Achilles heel is music, and there's just as many filthy, dirty people in music. But I despise Hollywood, and I don't know, there'd make anything that would make me more happy than that.
Like, once I find out, because, and this is going to be problematic for him, but once I find out all the horrible things that were done to Justin Bieber, I'm going to be like,
which I believe there is.
Well, I'm going to go buy an album or two, all right?
Right.
These are the sorts of things that when you start taking apart this cult of personality, this how we view these things. Now, this election was really indicative of how we're not paying attention to celebrities anymore. That was a huge deal. Kamala Harris could have every single person up on stage, and it did not matter to the tune of 312 electoral votes. But let's finish the deal. Let's finish the job here. Let's take apart what this government is. We are, as we brought it up on Friday when you were out, Gen X is the F-it generation. We're the ones that burn it down. Let's take this thing apart.
That's right. And sunlight, remember the Supreme Court justice that said sunlight is the best disinfectant? I would say I would replace sunlight, at least in this moment, to say transparency is the best disinfectant for all the the things that you despise, you listening right now, the things that you despise about the government, transparency will disinfect that so you can trust, or at least relatively trust, begin to trust your federal government again.
Yeah, and the funny part is they keep saying, Carlos said it earlier, this is too much for the American people to handle. This is, you know what? It's not.
Nothing is.
What it is it's too much for the bureaucrats. It's too much for the players and the elites to be caught doing what they're doing. Because I'll tell you right now, he's going to go to Jan 6. He's going to pull up everything that Nancy Pelosi was involved in and every Democrat and their smear campaign, their propaganda campaign, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney. They all know that they are going to be in trouble because Trump is an outsider. He's an American person who wants the American people to really understand transparency. Full transparency. We can handle it. We already know you're corrupt. We want to know how deep the deep state is. And when we find out, the only thing that's going to happen to you is you'll never get voted in again. And that's scary to Democrats.
I would love to have Kash Patel. First off, they're going to try and kill him. Okay, that's the CIA and the
They've
FBI.
made it clear that they're not afraid to do that.
Very clear, you got to go. But I would love to hear him put out the sort of information that tells me, oh, by the way, there were 50 federal operators that were working on January 6th with the entire plan to entrap as many Americans as possible. Okay, these are the sorts of things that we know. Now I want my government to tell me that this is what is so.
Yeah, make them tell the truth. Dude,
Right.
There's nothing more.
Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping.
Yeah, all that. When you make someone stand in front of the entire world and say, here's what I did, and here's how it affected you, that puts the fear of God in people. And let me tell you, nobody wants to be on that pedestal. Nobody wants to be in that hot seat. And it will prevent, I believe, people from doing it in the future. Now, will it prevent everybody? No. There's going to be people that try to work around it, that try to get away with it anyway. But most people, it's like making an example of someone. You know, remember when school teachers used to make example out of somebody that was acting up, and you put them in the corner, or you sent them to get at least when I was in elementary school, to get the paddling? Man, people acted right because there was consequences.
Yeah.
And that's what it'll take to get it right here.
Yeah, I mean, bringing back morality, bringing back that kind of idea. I mean, I know they've tried to throw God out, and they continue to do it. Democrats will continue to put judges in place that don't allow any kind of thought of religion or love or morality. But I think the people are better than that, stronger than that, and they'll stand up to it.
Lowe says we need total honesty from our government, which nobody could argue that, or at least 80%.
We have been talking about the idea of transparency and that the Department of Government Efficiency is going to help give us some of that once it's headed up by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk. But we still remain to be seen what's going to happen with RFK Jr. and exactly what he's going to head up. He's been there's been the discussions about having oversight over the FDA, over some of our food and drug, obviously, our issues, some of our shop programs, all of our health issues. When we had the whole movement of Make America Healthy Again, that was the direction that we were talking about. My question is this: do you want full honesty? Because if we were to have someone who heads up this and who was to explain to Americans that the entire game is this, that the tobacco companies purchase the food companies to make sure that you were addicted to food and to basically slowly poison you. All right, is that what you want to hear?
Yeah, well, is it what you want to hear? No. But is it what you need to hear? Yes.
And so, there's that. There is the idea of Pfizer, and this is all public knowledge. It's not, I'm not suddenly making something up out of nowhere. Pfizer and Moderna have both been spending hundreds of millions of dollars to acquire smaller cancer drug companies, in part because what they felt they gave you here in the last few years, they feel like there's going to be an explosion of cancer. When RFK Jr. decides to tell you that what they gave you several years ago is potentially going to give you cancer, and what these companies are feeding you is going to do this. And so not only are these companies giving you the problem, then they also say they're going to help the problem. At what point are you going to be able to take that kind of honesty and recognize that you have been compliant in your own demise?
Yeah, I'm looking.
You want 100% honesty?
Yes, I want it. Yeah, I want 100% honesty. I want those commercials to stop. I want everything that they're making these drugs look, just so wonderful, fix all our problems, rather than learning about, because one thing I learned about COVID, vitamin D, sunshine, exercise, eating well. That's what I needed. I didn't need vaccine, drug, drug, because that's what we've been doing. They want to put our children on drugs every single day. They want to continue that. And when you start to break down not only just what we're getting in, pharmaceutical companies, but the connection to where they put their money as well. When we find out that the trans movement makes so much money, these doctors and the pharmaceutical companies are the ones that are helping fund that back and forth. I want to see all of it.
So when you have the manufacturer of Ozempic, and you do have a push right now within the FDA, and this is where the Means have gotten involved with this. Callie Means has been really ahead of this, and Casey Means has been ahead of this, and FDR Jr. has been along for the ride on this, talking about how the push has been for the amount of obese children to start having Ozempic be plugged into them at as early as 6 years old. Now, one of the offshoots of Ozempic is kidney issues. Now, does it happen to everyone? We don't know. We'll see. That's kind of what happens, gastrointestinal issues. So all the people that are enjoying the fact that they kind of cut the line, they decide to take Ozempic and they drop some weight and they're feeling pretty good. If you end up with these issues down the road, are you going to want the 100% honesty of FDR Jr., Robert F. Kennedy Jr. basically telling you, the companies that sold you on this made you sick, and now they're also saying they're going to get you well. But you were part of this because you took the shortcut.
You chose. Yeah, absolutely. No,
That's 100% honesty.
I think it is, and I think it's needed, though. Because at some point, we have to be responsible for us. We have to be responsible for the decisions we make. Yeah. We have to be responsible for saying, yep, you know what? I heard the ad. I heard that laundry list of side effects, and yet I was willing to do it anyway. That's on you.
Sure is.
That's your responsibility. You didn't have to do it that way. Are there extenuating circumstances? Maybe that was the best way, and you and your doctor decide that's the best way. Maybe there is. But in most cases, I believe the more honesty, the better decisions that most people can and will make. There's always going to be people that won't do the right thing. Sure. It is human nature not to do the right thing.
Let me tell you one of the offshoots of this, where some companies I think are already making an adjustment based on how they see that the wind is blowing. Do you know that Kraft pulled Lunchables off of the school lunch menu as far as low-income students being, here's your Lunchable? Because they know it's bad for you.
Yeah, man, that stuff is terrible.
And when I told my wife that we weren't going to give my youngest daughter, who loved Lunchables, that we weren't going to do it anymore, and here are the reasons why. That lasted about 6 months. And then she broke down and she bought a couple Lunchables. Then when she saw this information, she stopped doing it again. She needed to not just hear it from me, who, I mean, apparently I have a tinfoil hat and you just can't trust the sort of stuff I'm saying. Right. But it took her 6 months to go, damn, you were right. We shouldn't be giving this to our kids. And it's going to take some of this blatant honesty to tell you you're poisoning your little ones with this stuff. You're poisoning yourself with this stuff.
And if I'm a Democrat, by the way, I want to know why I got COVID, and I have not, as far as I know, because I've never felt it or never needed it. But I want to know why I got it 5 times after taking every booster you've put down my throat. I want to know full transparency.
We already know that.
What was in the vaccine.
It's already out there. You know what I mean?
Well, we know.
Yeah, right.
We know. They need to see it from themselves. They need 100% honesty, because the only way to break this mental virus that they've been under from the Democrats and filled with propaganda and just reiterating it is to be shown the truth.
Amen to that, it is. And the truth, they say, will set you free, sir. This is the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. When we come back, take a look at how illegal immigration has backfired on the Democrats. Next on Extra 106.3, Tug, Rhino, and Los. We're on the radio until 10. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Some of the left conspiracy theories now on the election are a lot of fun. That these Starlink satellites that Elon Musk put up there were actually secretly programmed to interfere with voting machines and vote counts around the country.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
Especially on a day like today where it's rainy, your roof gets your attention, especially if you have leaks in the roof. And that's the worst thing that can possibly happen to your home. Water in your home, there's nothing more detrimental. And that's your biggest assets, where you live and breathe and eat and sleep. And it's where your family comes to visit. And especially with Thanksgiving coming. Do you know a family that is in dire need of a new roof? Home for the holidays is something that Southern Exteriors really wants to focus on. And they want to provide some deserving family that's in a financial situation where they can't afford a new roof to give them that for Christmas. Do you know that deserving family? If you do, go to southernexteriors.co and nominate them there. southernexteriors.co and nominate that family that you know, that you love, that you go to church with, maybe you work with, just a friend of the family, maybe somebody in the neighborhood. It could be any of those people, but if they're in need of a new roof this holiday season, Southern Exteriors wants to provide it. southernexteriors.co is the website. You nominate that deserving family at southernexteriors.co.
Shooting drills.
A coach who knows the game can teach their team how to improve, but one who genuinely cares about each player
You have what it takes. We got this.
can inspire them to win. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but the cold air is coming fast. That means a couple different things to me and you. Energy bills will be rising and company coming over for the holidays. Dan Watkins here with all Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows. It's time to get your house ready for the winter air and your holiday visitors. The good news is that we have you covered for every opening in your home. So call us today to set up a free estimate with one of our amazing sales consultants. They'll help you pick out the perfect garage door, front door, and windows for your home.
Join A Second Chance Bail Bond CEO Daniel Madelon and host Tug Coward for the weekly radio show Back Your Blue. They will highlight special initiatives, criminal justice programs, and community events aimed at keeping our communities safer. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to learn some good news about and from the law enforcement and justice communities. This week's guests are Community Relations Officer Mark Cabral and Officer Victor Aguirre of the Roswell Police Department. Tune in on Saturdays or catch up on all past episodes wherever you get your podcasts or at thepodcastpark.com.
No one plans on going to jail, but when it happens, it's important that you know who to call. Call A Second Chance Bail Bonds, where we believe everyone deserves a second chance. Whether your loved one's been arrested in Cherokee, Clayton, or any of the other metro Atlanta counties in between, A Second Chance Bail Bonds works fast to help expedite release within hours. A Second Chance. It's better to know us and not need us than need us and not know us. Call A Second Chance 24/7 at 404-BAIL-OUT or online at atlbail.com.
The Morning Extra from 6 to 10. Glenn Beck until noon. Clay and Buck from noon to 3. And The Kimmer Show on your ride home from 3 to 6. Plus Jesse Kelly from 6 to 9. And Jimmy Vela from 9 to midnight. The voices you need all day with a conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Tug Rhino with Los on the Morning Extra. Almost Friday. You can feel it in your bones. I know you can. There's nothing like a good Friday and good music on a good Friday. Matter of fact, as a Thursday morning, it's pretty good too. There was one thing that backfired. One specific. There's a lot of. I should restate that. There's a lot of things that backfired for the Democrats. But illegal immigration is obviously the one that takes the cake, Los.
So East Palestine was an area where, no surprise, they was voting nearly 70-75% Trump, and it basically did the same thing. We went through the story of Springfield, Ohio, when they were bringing in all these Haitian immigrants coming in, and it was overwhelming their school district, and it was causing issues when it came to their medical care, and yet that place voted about the same, just what happened. I didn't realize what had gone on in several key places around the country. So this ends up being the Barren Island Floyd Bennett Field. And this is an area.
Well, I ain't going to say that. What is it again?
The neighborhood is the Barren Island Floyd Bennett Field.
Okay.
Now, this is a place where they set up a large center to process illegal immigrants, try to get them settled, and basically just say, all right, they're now in your neighborhood. It's in this area. Here's what we're doing. Now, in 2020, this place voted 77% Biden and Harris. Mm-hmm. All right? Fast forward 4 years after they had all of this stuff go on, it voted 21% Biden and Harris. It went from Donald Trump, where he got 23%, to 78%.
So it just flip-flop, basically.
Yeah. These were not areas that were red. It was turning these areas that were largely very blue, and they said, let's go get the person who's told us he's not going to tolerate this stuff.
Did I miss you say where that is? Is that in Ohio?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right inside Springfield. And,
Okay.
and, again, they wanted to pretend like these people aren't illegal. The citizens that actually live there, they knew better. But this isn't the only area. I mean, this is a huge number, and I saw the same stats. But you look at California, very blue. But look at all the picks. Or let's say, look at all the new votes. Look who he picked from the Democrat Party and came over to vote for him. Most of them cited immigration as the biggest policy. New York, same thing. What they did was overrun the city. They started giving away things to everybody. And that's why you saw larger numbers of Jewish Americans, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, and all Americans, not only on Long Island, but also in those very blue districts in Manhattan, who were listening to Eric Adams saying, yeah, enough's enough. We care about immigration. This is a huge problem. We're voting Trump.
Again, this is an area that is typically blue. This is not an area where you look at it and go, well, they're flooding the zone. Now we're going to have all these problems. This was one of those that 78%. I mean, if you imagine in an election cycle, all right, let's say you lose a little bit of favorability and you lose 10 points. Well, okay, fine. Instead of 78%, I'm going to get 68%. It's still a very easy win.
Right.
And yet this thing flipped from Donald Trump being a 23 to a 78 because of them having to process all the stuff that was going on when it came to illegal immigration.
And when we look at the map, I mean, look at all the inner part of California. Like, not on the actual coast and not on the borders of the other states, but the dead center of California from north all the way south. Voted almost all red, which is unbelievable, man. I've never seen a California map look that way on Election Day.
Yeah.
And I would say similarly for New York.
Yeah, New York's the same. And then when you go into Colorado, a very blue state, but you start looking at those areas that you had a lot of bad immigration policies, you saw numbers starting ticking up a little bit more. Not as drastic as Springfield, Ohio, but even in those areas, they lost so much because they gambled on the fact that they didn't want to commit Kamala Harris as the borders are. They couldn't talk about the border. They couldn't talk about illegal immigration. They couldn't talk about what they wanted. These people saw how asylum, if they were given that, would really hurt their communities, and they voted them out.
So this is going to end up really, I think, showing off here over the next 4 years. But I think what a lot of this highlights is that you are not going to have a community that's going to show, look how easily we accepted all of these new people and we're not having any issues at all. If that existed, the news media would have already shown us. And when we get to mass deportation time, that's what would typically be shown. Like, look how these people in this neighborhood, this borough of New York, or this suburban area of Ohio, or wherever, are doing extremely well. Look how they've all acclimated to one another.
For sure.
And it's not there.
No, of course it's not. And back to the mass deportation thing a little bit. I've been concerned about how people are going to digest it, right? Because they're going to be presented as these people are tearing families apart and keeping families in case. You know the stories.
They all get to go together. That's exactly what I've heard.
Exactly. That's what Holman said.
Thank you, Tom Holman.
He said yes. Are you
going to separate families when you have them leave? No, they'll all leave together.
That's right. That's a package deal. But I find it interesting knowing what alternative media has done to this election cycle, how that will actually benefit, again, the mass deportation stuff. Are there going to be the 20-30% that watch mainstream media and care what they say? But those numbers are dwindling so fast. You're seeing CNN about to hack all their staff. Everybody you know at CNN is going to be fired. And they're about to spin off, Comcast about to spin off MSNBC. And funny, the owner of Daily Wire was teasing and toying with, should I buy it? Just as a trolling, probably, because he doesn't need it. But the fact that the influence is gone, does that change the way the mass deportation is understood, is accepted, is discussed in circles? I don't think that the mainstream media is going to have quite the grip on people when this happens.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there won't be screaming and yelling, but I do believe that people will have a better understanding and won't be listening to those fools.
Yeah, I think so too. And just to kind of reiterate, in Aurora, which is 3 different counties Aurora's a part of, Trump got 59% of the vote in one of the counties right there. I mean, they really did increase their votes. And those are blue. They won, they're blue, but he got 44 or more % of those votes in those areas where Aurora, Colorado was affected.
There you go. Another glorious backfire for the Democrats this election cycle. And you still see them spinning in circles asking what happened. They don't know. Still to this moment, they don't know. Do you realize that Joe Biden welcomed Hitler to the White House? He smiled. He shook his hand. He told him how helpful he wanted to be to have Hitler take over? Next on Extra 106.3.
The Kimmer Show is only live on Extra 106.3 every weekday afternoon on your drive home.
It was clear that middle America just isn't going for this razzmatazz Cleopatra on the float, let's elect her because she's black and female.
Not just that, but blacks and Latinos have woken up.
It meant that the DEI, once and for all, has been proven on a national level. It's not good.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
You and your buddy. You've been through a lot with each other. The ups and the downs. He's been with you every morning, noon, and night. You've traveled the world together. Heck, he was even with you on your first big date. But have you noticed he's struggling lately? Not performing on the job. He can't even stand up straight anymore. He's wanting to cry out for help, but just doesn't know how. He needs Dr. Deal and Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They can give him the gift of good posture this year, help him stand proud and become all he was meant to be. Now, take him by the hand, look him in the eye and say, I appreciate you, little fella, and we're going to get you some help. We're going to call 404-777-1911. We're going to visit tbtofga.com. We are going to say goodbye to erectile dysfunction forever. Total Body Therapy of Georgia. It's a hard conversation to have, but it's one worth having. Learn more online at tbtofga.com. Modular and offsite construction is booming. If you're an architect, building engineer, supplier, developer, or contractor, you can't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to the International Convention Center in Atlanta on November 20th. With the rising cost of traditional building, modular and offsite construction is changing the way companies build. It's quicker, cheaper, and offers a faster ROI. So don't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to Atlanta on November 20th. Register today at offsiteconstructionnetwork.com. That's offsiteconstructionnetwork.com.
Years ago, when I first started to feel pain in my hands and my joints, I did what most people did. I masked them, to feel better for a few hours, only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again. Not until about a decade later did I understand that there's a better way. It's called Relief Factor. The good news is, for you, that you don't have to mask your pain anymore. Relief Factor makes it easy to get rid of the pain completely and naturally. Now, they have a 3-week quick start. It's $19.95 for less than $1 a day. Instead of masking the pain, try Relief Factor. Well, it's a unique formula of ingredients that helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors, and it's 100% drug-free. And right now, their 3-week quick start is $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com. Call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask the pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
Get ready for Real Talk on the Janelle King Show, where we tackle kitchen table topics that are banned from family gatherings, but crucial for a strong republic. Tune in every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday for an encore episode at 9 a.m. And if you can catch us live, great. But if not, no worries. New podcasts drop every Tuesday on the Podcast Park right here on Extra 106.3 or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us for insightful conversations that matter.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. This hour is presented by Van Sant Law, vansantlaw.com.
An early test of loyalty. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. Some Senate Republicans say no way to President-elect Trump's choice for Attorney General Matt Gaetz, a now former Florida House Republican.
House Speaker Mike Johnson confirmed Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress shortly after Trump tapped him to be the next Attorney General. His resignation comes days before the House Ethics Committee was set to vote on releasing a potentially damaging report about him. The committee has been investigating the now former congressman for years for allegations including sex trafficking, drug use, and accepting bribes, all of which he denies. Gaetz immediately faced some opposition from senators on both sides of the aisle, with 2 Republican Senate sources telling Fox News he will never get confirmed.
Fox's Brooks Singman. Gaetz is one of several Republicans in Congress whose seats are opening up because they've been chosen to serve by President-elect Trump. The party will now for sure control the White House, Senate, and House. Fox's Griff Jenkins.
It was clinched after the House race in Arizona was called for GOP candidate Juan Ciscomani, and it does bring that House balance of power to 218 to 208, with a handful of races still yet to be called. In the Pennsylvania Senate race, Democrat Senator Bob Casey refusing to concede to Republican Dave McCormick.
And that's now going to an automatic recount. There is life-threatening flooding in the forecast for Central America because of a late-season tropical storm that could make its way to Florida. New Jersey's in its first declared drought since 2016.
Gusty winds also enhancing fire danger over areas that are experiencing extreme drought. What will soon be Tropical Storm Sarah moving into Central America. We'll have to watch its development as the system is forecast to pop into the Gulf of Mexico this weekend. I'm Janice Dean, Fox News.
Disney reports earnings slightly higher than expected. We get the Labor Department's report on wholesale prices this morning. America's listening to Fox News.
Have you thought about the causes the brands you support stand behind? Well, Pure Talk supports our veterans. They've relieved $10 million in veteran debt, donated tens of thousands monthly to prevent veteran suicide, and donated $50,000 to Mike Rowe Works, helping to provide scholarships to veterans after active duty. It's time to jump ship from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
You're right, and so are we. Welcome to Extra 106.3.
Doug, Rhino, and Los until 10 on the Morning Extra. Thanks for being here. Wishing you a good morning on a rainy Thursday. 404-741-1230 if you'd like to talk about some of the nominations that President Trump has made. Bill Ackman calls them the dream team.
All right.
Dude, I love it. How many times do you get positive news and positive commentary on Donald Trump? It's so rare, so when you hear it, it's kind of refreshing.
It is kind of refreshing, and it's a good team of people that he wants to put in place in order to get things going right away. We'll just see how many the Senate can confirm. I would assume most of them, I think, are safe. Matt Gaetz is going to be the biggest one.
It's going to be tricky.
And I know the left right now is freaking out, talking about recess appointments, and Donald Trump is taking over this government away.
Love it.
And they're going to distract with all these lies. So, just keep calm. Let the process take effect. Thune was put in for a reason. He's there. We'll talk about that later as well.
Speaking about appointments and selections, did we tell the audience we got this close to having one of the all-time greatest shooters in the history of this city on this radio show?
Yeah. And Rhino and I didn't even recognize him. I
didn't realize it at first that it was Dennis, but
it just didn't even hit me.
I glanced up and I was like, that's Dennis Scott.
Yeah.
And he's coming over to our sister station, but he walked in the door and he was looking for the first studio, and Rhino was like, yeah, come on in. I just kind of glanced up. I was like, that's Dennis Scott.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be with us, but that's fine.
I was trying to sneak him in here.
That's right.
I was trying.
Dude, also a I guess you could call it a nomination. The world's sexiest man. It's Scott Rhino. Who knew?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Really? He won again. Oh,
That's what it should have been. I think it was John Krasinski or something.
Yeah, it's Krasinski got it.
Which
Good for him, I guess. He's so mediocre to me. Like, I mean, I don't want to say that. That's mean. I'm not even near as attractive as him.
No, you're more. I think it should have been you.
I mean, probably. But he's kind of like, I don't know, just like normal guy. Maybe that's what it is.
That's it. I don't know. People, ladies like normal dudes.
That's why it works. And let's face it, you've got 20 years worth of The Office behind you.
Yeah.
So is it that or Jack Ryan?
See, I think it's
because he's
Jack
like
Ryan
a real man in Jack Ryan.
I think that's what it is.
But there's that sweetheart factor.
Yeah.
Remember, so much of what the early years of The Office, our version of it was built on was, all right, are they going to get together or what?
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 seasons of that before you finally went, finally it paid off.
There you go. So turns out there was, I think, a bad choice, not by Trump, but by people. Should have been Scott Rhino. We got John Krasinski. Maybe next time. That's the only thing I can say. Maybe
by the way,
next
we
time
had a former coworker of ours that had a John Krasinski. He used to play on his AAU basketball team.
Oh, that's funny.
So we have a weird connection between this radio station.
Is it Finn? Because
no, it's good old Steak Shapiro.
Steak
Used to coach John Krasinski like back in Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, wow. How about that?
How crazy is that?
Yeah. Now we know why Krasinski never became a basketball player.
So good. You know what? The surprise, I think, of the day for me is when Joe Biden opened the door and welcomed Hitler into the Oval Office. He sat down with Hitler and said, well, Hitler, we're going to make it so easy for you to transition your government and you take the reins of everything's going on. I was surprised that he would say that to Hitler.
Yeah, not only that, he was also one of many of the Democrats, including Nancy Pelosi, who said, I'll do anything to keep him out of the White House. Well,
Joe
boy,
Biden
you sure opened the door, walked him right in there. Come on.
The door open and was like, come on in. Welcome back, he says.
Okay, so maybe he felt like he didn't have a choice, but he did have a choice to be laughing and smiling and shaking hands and having a good old time next to the fire, no?
Yeah, it was very odd. The whole meeting, you could tell it was awkward, and Trump was, after being called all those names, I feel like he handled it with such dignity. Of
course.
And Joe Biden backed away from it, which tells you that Joe Biden believed none of it, and the Democrats believed none of it.
Of course.
All of it was just a ploy to maintain power. Imagine that. They used this political... I don't know, witch hunt is the only thing I can describe it as, to maintain power. They didn't believe that he was Hitler or a dictator or any of those things. 0 people believe it in the government. Now, they've brainwashed a lot of people, as far as American citizens, to believe it. But in reality, Pelosi don't believe it, Harris don't believe it, and Joe Biden don't believe it.
But you don't understand he's Hitler.
Yeah.
That's always their response.
They sure opened the door and rolled out the red carpet.
Yeah, I mean, you don't normally do that for somebody that you label that way. But like I said yesterday, they're going to say, hey, this was a tough political campaigning. This is what we do. There's a lot of mudslinging, blah, blah, blah. But don't even believe that. Deep down, I don't think either one of them really likes each other. But if he was really Hitler, if they thought the things they did, they would have never invited him in the first place to be there. And that's the reality of it. This was a campaign to smear the man. They knew that. And now that he's there, they have no choice but to be cordial. And that's the way it is. But I think there's more to it, Los. I really do think Joe Biden and Jill Biden voted for Donald Trump.
I swear,
and saw that, hey, we allowed this to go too far. We've got to put a stop to this. We got to work with Donald Trump to make sure that we can bring this American government back to a republic.
Once we got through the first week of July, when you had Joe Biden, who was essentially ousted from running for the presidency again, man, those pictures look like we got the guy that we wanted. Those pictures that they took of Donald Trump and Joe and Jill Biden look like this is our president that we selected, not what happened to us.
Dude, he couldn't wipe the smile off his face. It was like the Joker smile. It was so big.
It was.
I mean,
laughing,
jovial. And you know, because Joe's a free agent.
Yeah.
I mean, the Democrats have screwed him. Look, he's not a good dude. He is not a good man. Don't be mistaken.
No.
He's been a corrupt politician his entire life, and that's what he'll continue to be. If he can. If he has the ability, he would continue to be doing that.
But he was a happy dude, and not because it was for the cameras.
That's exactly
I think
right.
he was genuinely happy yesterday.
Because he was able to rub it in the Democrats' face that y'all kicked me out and she lost. The one that you picked lost. I told you I was the better candidate. Do I believe he's the better candidate? No, he would have lost even worse. But it doesn't matter because to him, he's got the upper hand and the Democrats are seething the way that he rolled out the red carpet.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, part of that smile was like, you like the garbage comment, right? It really helped me calling everybody garbage, huh? How about when I did this? How about when I did that to Kamala?
When I did all the press conferences when she was doing her ellipse.
Yeah, I think that's what the smiles were about because in reality, I don't think Joe Biden and Jill, like I said, I think they voted for Donald Trump. But if not, they at least wrote in his name.
I think they did. I swear to God, I think they did.
All right.
She does not go to the polls
They
head
smile
to
too
toe.
much, man.
I'm telling
Both
you,
of them.
body language matters. And I know we use sports analogies a lot on the show because we're at the ballpark, but if you see a pitcher on the mound and his body language is terrible, he's not going to recover. He's not going to be body language with Joe Biden, jovial, welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Jill too.
Absolutely. And then when you go to the polls in head to toe Republican red, there is a reason you did that.
If you were ousted in the way that Joe Biden was, wouldn't you go against his rival?
Of course.
Yeah, this is not chess. This is checkers.
Yeah.
I mean, she wore that outfit on election day for a
With
reason.
intention, yes.
And then all the reports, I know Jack Posobiec was one of the first people that had it, and then a lot of people started picking up on it. When Jill Biden was seen in the White House the day after Election Day, they're like, she couldn't have a bigger smile on her face because the woman she hates got routed.
That's right. And you saw it. Was it the Veterans Day thing where she was giving her such the cold shoulder?
Yes.
Kamala, when they were sitting next to each other, and Jill almost tilts herself away from her. There was almost a wedge between the two. That face that she gave Kamala Harris and then what she gave Donald Trump yesterday.
Yeah.
And look, she called Donald Trump some hideous names.
Yes.
And yet yesterday, she had the biggest smile on her face. I'm talking a Cheshire cat smile.
I think they were very happy to dismantle Kamala Harris and that entire ideology that they were trying to push through while running for presidency. But yeah, I mean, I have never seen Biden smile that much, to be honest with you. He's never smiled that much, and neither has Jill. Jill never has that much of a smile on her face. So I truly believe that they're happy with what happened because I think they knew, hey, we're trapped. Because that was the reality. They were trapped by the powers that be. As a puppet regime, they couldn't get out of that. This was their best way out, was by making sure that Donald Trump was going to break apart all those elites and take them down. And that's where it's going right now. I think they're happy with everything Donald Trump's been doing, including cabinet picks. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Biden and Jill Biden are making phone calls to other senators and everybody else saying, hey, confirm it, confirm it, confirm it. Certain ones. I don't know about, there are ones that they're not going to like. I think Matt Gaetz is going to be the biggest problem out of all of them. Everybody else, I think, slides right through. But in reality, I think Joe Biden and Jill will help making phone calls.
See, I don't know that I would go that far. I'm not saying it's impossible by any means. I don't know that I go that far, but I'm with you in the fact that they want to see him succeed only because it sticks it to the people that screwed them to begin with. And they're not good people. So it's not like I care one way or another, but it is entertaining to watch. I mean, it's better than any reality show.
Yeah. Well, this was not a 20-minute photo op.
No, 2 hours,
This is 2 hours. There was some deep discussion about policy, and I will not ever believe that there wasn't the discussion of what to do about Hunter Biden.
Yes.
Like, I firmly believe there was some point over 2 hours where there was a discussion over Hunter Biden. Now, if it didn't come up, that's because Joe's already decided what he's going to go and do. But he has publicly stated he's not going to give him a pardon. But Trump will.
Yep.
So let's set the stage.
We're a horse trade here.
This is all hypothetical.
Horse
of
trade,
course,
exactly.
Nobody knows. Who brings that up? That's the question. Because I think it would be Donald Trump that actually brought it up. I think Joe Biden's prideful. He knows that he has the ability to pardon his son. It seems to me, if I'm guessing, That would be something that Donald Trump brings up. And maybe Trump brings it up to say, hey, I'll give you this. Like you're talking about horse trading. If you make calls on my behalf, you help me get some people pushed. I don't know. It's all hypothetical, like I said. But it's interesting to play that out and wonder the way it came down.
Well, they got to come back to a moderate Democrat if they hope to win again in 4 years. They have to, if they want to win in 2 years during midterms, they have to come back to the middle. They have to go a little right with the Democrat Party. And I think that their key to that is Joe Biden and certain other Democrats that will be speaking. When you look at a Kyrsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, just because they may not win or may not be there again, they still have those connections that they'll make the phone calls and say, we got to bring this party back. You don't think they want to be in the middle? Even Tulsi Gabbard sees, hey, I'm a Republican now because that party left me, RFK Jr. They're going to try to bring that party back however they can.
So John Thune is now going to be your Senate Majority Leader. And I will tell you this, that is not a surprise over what Donald Trump was expecting to work with. Like, he knew which way the wind was blowing. For anyone who got upset about, why didn't Trump weigh in for Rick Scott? All right, Trump has been making alliances for the better part of the last 4 years, given what had happened to him in January of 2017. I firmly believe that you had the exact same thing going on in that meeting. Office of, need this. Joe, I might need you to make a phone call for me.
Yeah,
and you know what's available there? My pardon power is available there.
Absolutely. Right. Yep. And you don't have to look like a complete goon by pardoning your own son who is a clear criminal.
I'll take this
I'm going to take the heat.
And it's all hypothetical. It's all just speculation about what's going on. But Donald Trump is playing a different style of politics today than he was in January of 2017.
This is a lame duck way to set things up for the next president, who might be J.D. Vance or maybe even Ron DeSantis, whoever it may be and it should be Vance, by the way, but whoever it may be, this is all about setting it up. The Thune pick, whether you like it or not, and I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later. He did a good job yesterday. But the Thune pick is one that you look and really get into and say, hold on one second. He is in place until 2028, so we don't have to worry about a midterm election and him getting ousted. We also know that South Dakota is a very red state. If we want to keep him here, because there is no such thing as term limits in the Senate right now, if we want to keep him here doing what we need to get done in this from a very, very red state in South Dakota, then this is the guy for us, because he could be there for 20 years. Now he's 60-something years old. I think he's 63 at this point. Yeah, so he could be there until he's 83, maybe not, but you know that you could keep him in place for a long time, especially if you get what you want working for the next 2 years.
I mean, we got to the point where Mitch McConnell's brain would go into screensaver mode.
Yeah.
All right, that's how long that they pushed that horse.
Oh, my God.
You're at 63.
I'm so glad to see him go.
You got a good 10, 15 years.
Yeah, but just the thought of somebody like Mitch McConnell staying in the Senate for that long, it's not anything that I'm in favor of or want at all.
Yeah.
Yesterday, though, KJP was interesting in the fact that when asked about how everything went, she was like, "Oh, it's great. Everything's great. Yeah, it could." It
was the most cordial. That was the thing.
She hated it, though.
She hated every minute of it.
She hated every second of that.
Yeah, because this is a woman who also stood up there as the press secretary and threw out lie after lie and threw out everything. Suckers and losers, Charlottesville, blah, 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 blah. And then had to come out and face a press that is usually on her side, who are still questioning what happened and why everything went wrong. And she had to say, this was a very productive meeting. We were able to speak about foreign policy. We were able to speak about things going on not only all around the world, but here in this country. It was cordial. It was nice. They both enjoyed it, and they had a good time for 2 straight hours. That was really probably hard for her to say.
Of course it was, because she despises Donald Trump. She despises everything that he stands for. The America First thing she despises. I don't know why. I like that still, and it's not something that's not been brought up a million times. I've just never understood why you don't like the idea of putting America first, unless you hate America.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed how all of these buzzwords that were taboo even 4 or 6 years ago are now so, and very honestly, wildly popular? America First.
Oh, yeah.
America First in 2016, 2017 was, what do they mean by that? Well, how is that going? And it was. Oh, listen, that's a white nationalist buzzword. That's why they're saying this. Now it's turned into listen, the economy, we have problems. We have immigration problems. We're going to take care of ourselves first, and then we'll work out the rest of the world. But here's what it means. That language that they pushed for so long now has no power. Now it's just excitement.
Yeah. She was hoping that she was able to say, he came in with Project 2025 and plans for internment camps out in California.
He had a big book.
A big, huge book, 900 pages. That's what he was trying to push on Joe Biden. But she had to say, no, it was great. They had a great time, yeah.
So good.
They were laughing about the joke about him being on the beach. It was really good.
By the way, it's not in the show today, but you have some stuff to work on homework-wise.
Oh.
We had another UAP meeting yesterday.
Yes. It was a big one.
Okay.
And it's not being covered.
Is there like a documentary I need to watch or about them? Or
I'm just saying, you got to look into the fact of what our government's hiding from you. We got some stuff going on
All
here.
right, look, I'm open.
7 o'clock hour, ET is here, baby. All right.
I love it. Okay, all right. This is something we'll continue the conversation. I'm not saying there's nothing there. I just don't believe that there's something that looks like little green.
Not correct, but I'm going to help you.
Well, that's what a friend does.
That's right.
And that's why I love you too. And Joey too. So you three, as a matter of fact. Morning Extra and Extra 106.3, 7 o'clock hours brought to you by Van Sant Law. If you're in an accident, make the right call. VanSantLaw.com. When we come back, all of a sudden, the top Senate Democrat wants Trump to play nice. Next on Extra 106.3.
Elon Musk may have single-handedly saved this country and Western civilization.
One of the top 5 guys in 200 years changing the course of a culture.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Extra 106.3 and the Extra app.
Don't miss the Atlanta Mushroom Festival, Sunday, November 17th at Park Tavern in Piedmont Park. Beginning at 12 noon and ending at 7 p.m., this dog and family-friendly event features educational speakers, live music, and over 30 mushroom-themed vendors. Early bird tickets are only $10, which directly supports the nonprofit festival. For more information, visit AtlantaMushroomFestival.com or Atlanta Mushroom Festival on all social platforms.
Hey, it's Mike with Atlanta Painting Company. And this fall, we invite you to transform your home. Our expert team brings color to life with top quality paints and flawless finishes, and leading the industry with our color consultants. Whether it's a fresh coat of paint for one room or an entire exterior makeover, the Atlanta Painting Company has you covered. So, trust the local pros for reliable, professional service when you need to revive your home or business. Find us at atlantapaintingcompany.com or call us at 1-800-PAINTING. That's atlantapaintingcompany.com. The Atlanta Painting Company, the painters you can trust.
Hey, Roswell. Looking for the perfect bite this football season? Head on over to Nucky's Hoagie's Roswell Corners, where every sandwich is crafted with love by us.
The Sub Sisters,
Stacy
and Shannon. Whether you're looking to cater a football tailgate party or grabbing lunch to go or dining in, we've got delicious Nucky's menu items for you. When you bite into a Nucky's Hoagies, you'll taste the difference. The softest hoagie rolls ever, with the freshest ingredients that'll make your taste buds dance.
Make Nucky's Hoagies in Roswell Corners on Woodstock Road your new favorite sandwich spot.
I enjoy a good night's sleep, and I like to breathe while I'm sleeping. My wife appreciates that, too. That's why I wear a CPAP. You want the right machine. You want expert advice. You want all the supplies that go with it. You get it all at CPAPs, etc. in Alpharetta. Machines, masks, tubing, filters, cleaning supplies, all of it, and they ship nationwide. Walk-ins, by the way, are welcome. CPAPs, etc. Alpharetta, CPAPSETC.com.
Do you have a special needs child or an older adult in your home? The risk of them leaving the house unnoticed is real and terrifying, but you can protect your loved ones with Vivint Home Security. Right now, Vivint is offering a free doorbell camera with any new plan, plus free installation and low monthly monitoring plans. Call 800-953-6693. That's 800-953-6693. Monthly service agreement required for free installation.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Thursday, November 14th. Republicans have won enough seats in the U.S. House to maintain control. Juan Ciscomani defeated Kirsten Engel in Arizona's 6th district, securing the 218th seat for the GOP. This victory completes the Republican Party's sweep into power, ensuring their control of the House, Senate, and the presidency alongside President Donald Trump. 2 linemen were working on a project near Spalding and Little Streets in Griffin when an equipment failure led to a tragic accident. 1 lineman was killed and another suffered serious life-threatening injuries. The city of Griffin has identified the deceased as Eric Weems and the injured lineman as Trent Granger, who remains in critical but stable condition at the hospital. In sports, Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins was included on the team's injury report yesterday after being sacked 3 times and hit 9 times in the Falcons' loss to the Saints on Sunday. Cousins is listed with injuries to his right elbow and shoulder. Despite the injuries, he participated in the team's walkthrough on Wednesday in preparation for Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Tug Rhino and Los on the Morning Extra until 10. 404-741-1230 is the number. Now, Chuck Schumer has not been one to play nice. He's been one to take advantage. He's been one to look down his nose at you. He's been one to be so anti-Trump, so anti-Republican, so anti-conservative, so at times anti-American. But now, all of a sudden, he's got a new reason to ask the Republicans to play nice.
Now let me turn to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Another closely contested election now comes to an end. To my Republican colleagues, I offer a word of caution in good faith. Take care not to misread the will of the people, and do not abandon the need for bipartisanship. After winning an election, the temptation may be to go to the extreme. We've seen that happen over the decades, and it's consistently backfired on the party in power. So instead of going to the extremes, I remind my colleagues that this body is most effective when it's bipartisan. If we want in the next 4 years the Senate to be as productive as the last 4, the only way that will happen is through bipartisan cooperation. Democrats will be ready to do what we have consistently done. Work with both sides when the opportunity arises. Democrats will never abandon our values, but neither will we reject an opportunity to move the ball forward to make people's lives better when we can. The question is now whether or not Republicans are willing to do the same. To my colleagues on the other side, once again, do not abandon bipartisanship. It's the best and most effective way to get things done. It was true in the last 4 years and will be true in the years to come.
When I hear him,
he's full of it.
Well, that for sure, but I just picture him with his hat in his hand going, fellas, y'all beat us to death. Can you please be nice to us?
No, it was close.
Yeah, the closely contested election, bullcrap. What in good faith, I'm giving this advice in good faith, bullcrap. Mm-hmm. And then the Democrats are consistently willing to work with people. Are you drunk? Like, who believes that bullcrap?
I would tell good old Chucky Schumer, everything you said I'm willing to talk about in 2027.
Sure.
In the meantime, I got all 3 branches, baby, and here's what we're going to go ahead and do. We don't need you one bit. In fact, you can just basically park your little scooter on the sideline for about 2 years. I'll come see you in 2 years. At that point, if I need some votes, then I need some votes. But right now, I don't need you at all.
I like what he said. Absolutely. Let's work bipartisanly. You guys pushed stacking the Supreme Court. Let us stack the Supreme Court with the justices we want. Let us do all the unconstitutional things that you, Kamala Harris, and the rest of them proposed. Oh, wait. Maybe you don't want that now because you lost power.
Right.
They didn't work bipartisanly at all.
They never do. Never, ever, ever. And Chuck Schumer, to even insinuate it, is is laughable. And anybody that keeps up with politics, even in the slightest, knows this. It's not like a big secret.
Let's see when we put up our first border bill.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's see what happens when he starts putting in executive orders for fracking, drilling, and making us economically prosperous again. Let's see how Chuck Schumer and the rest of them act at that point, because I can guarantee you it won't be bipartisan. In fact, Democrats are the only ones who have voted against certain things that everybody was like, wait, why are you voting against that? I don't know, like deporting criminals that have raped or hurt other people. Every single Democrat voted against it. Every single Democrat voted against the SAVE Act, which just put in place that non-citizens can't vote. They all voted against it. I don't expect them to be bipartisan anymore. And you know what? I don't want any of us going into it saying we're going to be bipartisan. No, we know what's the best direction for this country. The American people spoke, and it wasn't closely contested. They told you the change they want.
So I got a troll last night on Twitter. One of those people that was searching a name, and then if anybody made a comment on that name, then he would jump on their timeline and basically talk about him. And mine happened to be when I was talking about Matt Gaetz. And this troll, who doesn't follow me, started pointing out how, well, look at what he's involved in. Look what he's been investigated for. And immediately I just responded back to him, well, why don't you stop it? Oh, but you can't. I mean, you can try, but you can't.
But you can't.
And that's my entire message to Chuck Schumer as well. You can't stop anything.
Yeah.
You are going to be set up in a situation where if you choose from a bipartisan standpoint to get on board a train that you think is going to be politically advantageous to you down the road, well, then by all means, vote accordingly. If you think that this border bill, whatever that gets proposed, will make a lot of sense for what the country wants, and again, that's an 80-20 issue, all right? Maybe you should jump onto it to where when your group tries to campaign over the next 6 years, they can say, I voted for that bill. Sure. But you're not dictating anything for the next 2 years.
And it's interesting that they know that. There's not like there's any illusion that they have any control of anything that's going to happen for the next 2 years. So much so, Governors Safeguarding Democracy, that is the group of governors, the liberal governors from liberal states, that they say they're going to be the new resistance.
Okay.
But it just goes to show you that at the federal level, the Democrats know they can't do anything. So now they're pushing it down to the state levels. Interesting that they would do that, because that's what Donald Trump said we should do with Roe versus Wade. That's what we should do with the Department of Education and many other things that I expect would push down to the states. But all of a sudden, the Democrats are thinking, we got no power here. Let's push it to the states.
Yeah, let's push it to the states. Isn't that funny how all of a sudden the states come in play? The reality of this for Schumer is all the pet projects. They want to be able to fill bills with pork the way they always have and all their little special projects and just steal money from the American people. And he's trying to find a nice way to say, hey, we're going to work with you, but don't forget, you got to work with us. Give us the money from the taxpayer so we can steal and rob from them for our own good. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to just kind of reach across. But the reality is, if the roles were reversed, they don't care about bipartisanship at all.
Chuck Schumer is playing nice because that's all he can do. That's it. That's the only move there is. So when Bob McCormick suddenly gets the invite to, hey, come to orientation because we believe you won Pennsylvania, welcome as a new senator, it's because if it was closer or if there was any sort of issue where this was a tighter election, then you would see Chuck Schumer playing hardball. But because they got their asses kicked, he's trying to play the game of, well, seems like the Americans want this, we'll go with it for the time being. And so I do agree with you guys. I think this is going to fester into blue states that are going to be that place of saying, okay, well, we voted Democrat, and maybe even in large numbers, although New York was not as close as for instance, Ohio was way red. Florida was way red. Texas was way red. You're going to have these governors that are going to be that next group that says we're going to
we're the resistance.
We're going to support our people by making sure to make deportations a lot harder. All right, Chuck Schumer does not have the ability to weigh in on that or to play that game. It's going to have to be on the governors.
No, of course, but that's the thing that makes me smile the most, I think, is because Trump has been saying we need to push things down to the states. And all of a sudden, the Democrats have been so against it. And now they have no other choice. And they're using his way of governing to be a resistance, to push back. It's just, I find it ironic that they raised so much hell about it, and now they're having to do it themselves.
The Biden administration, they made it a point. Well, Texas, you can't defend yourself. That's our job.
Yeah.
So let's not pretend that New York has the ability to decide what's going on when it comes to immigration.
No, and they won't, and it'll come down to that. They're going to play and fight as much as they can, but eventually it'll just come apart for them. But the reality is Schumer didn't want to have McCormick in the orientation. He started that way, and it wasn't until he got pushback where, like Carlos said, all of a sudden now he's willing to be bipartisan, but he was up front to say, no, he can't come to orientation. He hasn't been official yet.
Chuck
Schumer's trying so hard to just not look like an idiot. He's trying to look like a guy who wouldn't put a raw hamburger on with cheese on it and go, this is going to be great.
But that's the thing. Like,
yummy.
He was pushing back, saying we're not going to let a prospective senator go to orientation. But then comes out a couple days later and talks about unity and working together, and his actions his actions don't match anything he said, and they've never matched the things that he said.
You ever been in a situation where you realize you're in the wrong, but yet you still do it? Like, so let's say with your wife, and then 2 days later you're like, yeah, that was probably silly of me.
Sorry about that, babe.
That was Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
That was what happened with Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer still had his Democrat helmet on. Well, I'm going to keep this guy from coming to orientation. Then he saw which way the wind was blowing and was like, hey, welcome to orientation.
Exactly. I'm going to fix this doorknob.
No,
I'm not.
Yeah, let me tell you, that stings a little bit, only because that's what happened. Trying to fix the doorknob didn't work all that well. Mike Johnson is back as Speaker of the House, which, I don't know, man. I want to like Mike Johnson. There's aspects of things that I like about Mike Johnson, and there's plenty of things that make me go, oh, my God. And so Mike Johnson being back is... It's just ho-hum. It doesn't excite me like anything else that was just like this, the Senate Majority Leader in Thune. It doesn't make me excited. It doesn't make me go, this is the path we're marching down like the nominations do, man. Those make me want to get up and shout and be American, man, and be proud to be an American. Those are the things that I want to see, not what's happening in the House and the Senate.
One of the things, and I keep going back and forth about Mike Johnson because he is conservative in certain ways, right. But even before this, when we were talking about, continuing resolutions, the omnibus bills, all the things that we wanted Mike Johnson to do, he kind of fell to the Democrats. Now, we said it back then, he's probably hoping that Donald Trump will win the presidency, they'll win the Senate, they'll win the House, and then they can control the purse strings and draw everything back. Well, now he has to prove it, because when he was the House Speaker, and we did have the House, and he didn't do it. He allowed us to continue to spend money on Ukraine. He allowed us to continue to, or the Democrats, to continue to put their entire wish list in front of him and really didn't win anything back. McCarthy did the same thing, which is why McCarthy lost his spot. But I do believe that Mike Johnson has worked with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is too nice to Mike Johnson. You know what I'm saying?
It feels that way a little bit.
It does, too buddy-buddy.
There's a reason for it, though. I feel like he's got a long play on that maybe I just don't have the vision on.
That's what I'm thinking. I think the long play is, Mike, go with whatever they want. I'm going to claw everything back as soon as we win the House, the Senate, and the presidency. We're going to be able to do this. So that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. But again, we do have the government funding bill coming back up. We did do the continuing resolution. It's down the road. Let's see if he draws everything out of that. Let's see if he breaks it into 12 appropriation bills. Because if he starts doing those things, then I'm going to believe in Mike Johnson. But he's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, that has been the argument that has gone on for the better part of a year and a half from the Freedom Caucus. They're like, why don't we vote on this stuff individually? Let's make it very clear to the American people what we're voting on and what we're not. Mike Johnson, for better or worse, he now has the runway to do these things.
Absolutely right.
He now has the ability to say, this is the way we're going to play this out, because right now, efficiency is popular as far as a word in government when it comes to the voters.
I read this, and it was a quote from Kayleigh McEnany on Fox News Channel, And I just ran across it again.
She's a Waffle House possibility.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
I'm just saying we could figure out some things at Waffle House.
Yeah, like what's best to get in your Waffle House hash brown bowl.
That's right. And then, public policy from there.
Yes, for sure. She said, this is her quote, Mike Johnson told me we have a well-designed playbook and they are prepared to execute with precision. So what Thune is walking into, talking about the new Senate Majority Leader, walking into is something that has been prepped for the last few months by Speaker Mike Johnson, who has the support of President Trump and by President Trump. So it kind of back to what we're saying, is there a long play? And it looks like, according to Kayleigh McEnany, who I believe is pretty dialed in, being the former press secretary for Donald Trump, that there is something that we just don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, look, there are a lot of good whips in this, and Thune is one of those whips. He's a Republican majority whip, so he is good at getting people to come onto their side. Working with Mike Johnson, there are a lot of good people that can get those votes in, get it up to the Senate, and get it done. Let's hope he claws it back, because there is fundamental change coming, and it's about saving us money.
The reason Matt Gaetz is despised by the swamp, and I mean both sides of the swamp, Republican and Democrat. Next on the Morning Extra, Tug, Rhino, and Los until 10, then Beck, Clay, and Buck, and the local afternoon show with the Kimmer. Pete and Flounder, Kimmer Show, 3 until 6 on Extra 106.3.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? Here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
Interesting week, don't you think? A lot of celebrating, a lot of whining, a lot of blame placing. One real high point is now I think we can all be assured the Hyena's day as a political player in America is severely limited.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Extra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Extra 106.3 app.
There are crazies on the road. Who knows where they're all going, but if one of them hits you, don't take care of it on your own. Call my friend David Van Sant. He is the lawyer that used to work for the insurance company. The team at Van Sant Law knows who to call, what to say, and will make sure you get what you deserve and what the insurance company doesn't want to pay for. They have your best interest at heart and will take care of everything. If you don't get paid, they don't get paid. My advice, save Van Sant Law in your phone. Today, 855-GA-INJURY, VanSantLaw.com.
Are you the type of consumer that likes to do your research before you choose a company? Well, then you need to join Dan Watkins, Chris Lolamy, and myself, Jim Niarchos, every Saturday morning at 9 for the All Four Seasons Home Show. We only vet local businesses with a proven history of integrity, competence, and solid customer service. The All Four Seasons Home Show helps you make a good consumer decision, save money, and not get ripped off. You can also follow our podcasts on Apple, Google, and Spotify. The All Four Seasons Home Show, Saturday mornings at 9, right here on Extra 106.3.
Modular and offsite construction is booming. If you're an architect, building engineer, supplier, developer, or contractor, you can't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to the International Convention Center in Atlanta on November 20th. With the rising cost of traditional building, modular and offsite construction is changing the way companies build. It's quicker, cheaper, and offers a faster ROI. So don't miss the Offsite Construction Summit, coming to Atlanta on November 20th. Register today at offsiteconstructionnetwork.com. That's offsiteconstructionnetwork.com.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 106.3.
Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where this weekend we're inviting you to our Takori holiday event, where you can shop an extended collection of engagement rings, wedding bands, and new fashion jewelry, all handcrafted in the USA. Takori's collection includes new and trending designs, classic styles with a signature touch, and incredible matching wedding bands. They're fully customizable, so you can try on all your options and have your dream ring handcrafted in time for a holiday proposal, all with the help of the expert team at D. Geller & Son. As always, we have the best loose diamond value in Atlanta, and we'll have an incredible selection, plus jewelers on site to get your new Takori ring ready on the spot. To make it even more special, you can get up to 24 months 0% APR financing, or up to $1,000 back in Amex gift cards. Just like the holidays, this amazing event only comes once a year. So come join us at our Takori holiday event, only at D. Geller & Son, Atlanta's most trusted jeweler since 1939. In Atlanta, Kennesaw, and Sandy Springs. RSVP online at dgeller.com.
The legend Neil Bortz is only on Extra 106.3. With daily commentary you'll hear throughout the day. And he's on live with the Morning Xtra every Tuesday morning at 7:30. Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Extra 106.3. And catch all of Neil's commentary on the Extra app.
Starting to see the Trump team take some shape. Matt Gaetz is the one that threw everybody a curveball. It was Pete Hegseth, and then that has been blown out of the water by Matt Gaetz as AG. It's going to be a challenge to get him through the nomination process and get him into the position. But that's because not only do Democrats not like him, establishment Republicans can't stand him either.
Yeah, the power of if he's going to end up being the attorney general is because Donald Trump and the sledgehammer that he's swinging right now in D.C. It's not going to be because Matt Gaetz is well liked by the constituency. Keep in mind, Matt Gaetz was the mastermind behind basically telling Kevin McCarthy, the former Speaker of the House, if you step out of line spending-wise, we have built in rules to where we can get rid of you. And Gaetz was the primary person when Kevin McCarthy, if you remember what was going on when it came to the spending bill, as we got to the end of 2023, and Kevin McCarthy basically lined out a deal with the Democrats. Matt Gaetz and the rest of the Freedom Caucus said, we need more things to go along this. We need more border security. We need the DOJ to scale back what they're doing to Donald Trump. And Kevin McCarthy basically said, F you, I'm making my own deal. And Gaetz got rid of him. Okay, That's how that played out. So take a listen, though. This is Matt Gaetz. He's right in the middle of Congress, and he starts telling you about what's going on with the establishment and how fake they are when it comes to some of the things they were bragging about when they got a bill going.
My colleague says we've passed the strongest border bills in history. Well, guess what? Look at the border right now. We didn't use sufficient leverage in the debt limit or in any other thing to actually get results on the border. The border is a disaster, really something I don't think you're going to be campaigning on, that you fixed the border. Second, you said you streamlined regulations. What the gentleman from Louisiana doesn't tell you is that all of the regulatory reform he was just bragging about is waivable by the stroke of a pen of someone in the Biden White House. Do you really think you've got anything for that? It's a total joke. And then finally, the welfare to work that the gentleman from Louisiana said we got. The welfare programs that they said that they streamlined with their welfare to work stuff, they're actually going to grow. Because while they did work requirements, they blew out those programs with expanded eligibility. I'm real glad you guys didn't put work requirements on Medicaid. It probably would have resulted in Medicaid expansion. And when it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have, boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have borrowed against the future of our future generations. I'll be happy to fund my political operation through the work of hardworking Americans, $10 and $20 and $30 at a time, and you all keep showing up at the lobbyist fundraisers and see how that goes for you. I reserve.
That's the establishment Republicans booing him, and you don't think that I'm excited about this?
Yes. Look, this is amazing. I want him there. I do. I want him to be confirmed.
The likelihood's not good.
And the likelihood is not good. But you never know, okay?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of senators that might be quietly sitting back and saying, yeah, let's just keep going ahead. Let's get him enough votes. If you really want to sit out, sit out. If you want to vote, and you're thinking, go ahead, do it. So there is a good chance that he'll get in. But this is the reason why, if not, he won't. He is a great policymaker. He's done great at lawmaking in Florida, and he's done well. And that was the most important thing thing at the end, Carlos, too, is that he does not take money from lobbyists. He does not take money except for grassroots campaigning. And what he does is he asks for donations from the people of Florida. He doesn't take it from anybody else.
Talk about stranger things have happened. Think about it. Joe Biden wasn't a popular person, and he was the president. They figured out a way. Kamala Harris, she's risen to incredible heights and wasn't supposed to. So stranger things have happened. Got my fingers crossed. I don't expect it, but got my fingers crossed for Matt Gaetz.
It's going to get done, and here's the reason why.
You think it is?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
it's going to get
All
done.
right, great.
And here's the reason why. So many of these were already floated when you started hearing names buzzing around D.C. as far as who they thought that they would be able to get into positions. The reason why they were being floated is because they were seeing, do we think we have the votes to get confirmation? And when it came to Matt Gaetz, again, there's a reason why it was the last one yesterday. Because as soon as you got John Thune in there in the Senate, it turned into, all right, we are not going to primary you. Certainly could have. We're not going to primary you. But you need to get these through for us. And so I think there's a whole, like I said, again, it's horse trading. It's what's going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, Thune, like I said, Thune is a whip. I mean, that's what he does. He whips people to get them into where they need to be.
Yeah, what do you need? What committee do you need to be on? I'll make it happen.
And I'll make it happen. Let's make sure these things go through. So now here's the problem. You're not going to get Lisa Murkowski out of Alaska. You're not going to get Susan Collins out of Maine. Those are two senators who will not vote for Matt Gaetz or confirm him in any way whatsoever. So it is going to be a sticky process. There are a lot of good attorney generals. The other thing, they're going to get on Matt Gaetz. He's never been a federal prosecutor. That's going to be a big deal for them. Not for me.
Yeah.
For me, it's the exact thing why I want him to be there.
Exactly right, dude. I think you're 100% right. I agree with you on that. I don't want people that have been there doing it. They've already screwed it up enough.
Yeah.
Give somebody another opportunity that has never been there before. That's why I love the Hegseth. That's why I love the Matt Gaetz. I love all of that.
Give it to the people.
That's right, man. Get rid of all these fools, all these clowns that have screwed it up for 50, 60, 70 years now.
Yeah, there are going to be a lot of senators that might try to sit on the side, but I think Thune will whip them into shape, get them into where they need to be, and say, this is best. This is an outsider. We're giving the government back to the people. And Matt Gaetz is one of them. Pete Hegseth is another one of them. There's so many people. Look, Elon Musk, whether you like it or not, I know he's a billionaire and you're all upset about it. Guess what? He's a people. He's part of the people. These aren't elected officials. Donald Trump, he was not the people. He's the people.
Right.
He's not, a career politician. I'm hoping that I love Matt Gaetz. I do. I think he's got a lot of issues with his ethics complaints, even though I think they're all politically motivated, and he wants to tear down the DOJ and actually have a fair Department of Justice. So I understand what he wants, and I want that for us too. So I'm hoping that he can get through.
Lisa Murkowski, because you talked about the senators that will not go
That have
along
been vocal
with
already.
confirmation.
Yeah.
All right. She won her primary by 2,000 votes. That is nothing. When you start talking about committing money and playing the game up. Listen, here's the reason why you're going to go along with this. Because we're going to primary your ass.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have the ability to do it.
And you're going to be doing it with the most popular politician in the Republican Party in the country in Donald Trump. If you want to go down that road, it's a fight. If you want to go down that road, let's go down that road. No, by the way, the person who actually polled the best out of every single person in this cycle was J.D. Vance. So if you want a future beyond what's going on when it comes to the next administration, which is going to be Vance's administration, you're going to have to go along with these.
There's going to be a couple folks that will, they're going to have to set the example.
Yeah.
There are going to be a couple people that they're going to have to primary. They're going to have to do exactly what Lowe said. If you're not going to play along, we're going to get you out. And that's got to happen to set the precedent, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And, they could sit back and go, oh, yeah, you couldn't do it in 2022 when no, this was a different election. The people spoke this time. You saw the numbers. You saw the way even these blue states got red to a point. Obviously, there are still blue states, but a lot redder. These people need to be scared that they will lose their position. That's what they should be. They should be scared of the people, because that's what the government is supposed to do. It's supposed to fear the people, not the other way around. So I hope that Murkowski, I hope that Susan Collins, I hope that some of the other ones that are in there that are the establishment kind of people will vote that way. Dick Durbin on the other side as a Democrat is going to push every single Democrat not to confirm Matt Gaetz and do whatever they can to make sure that any of the picks aren't but you got a lot of good people on their side. You got Marco Rubio, who's really respected senator. Ted Cruz, very respected senator, that can also help Thune whip these people into shape.
Morning Xtra and Xtra 106 I saw a great meme. Just because of the conversation we were having earlier about the fact that we believe that Joe Biden and his wife voted for Donald Trump. This meme it says after all the reporters left, and it's both Trump and Biden leaning in behind the roaring fire, and it says, from Trump's perspective, I really appreciate your help with Kamala. And Joe Biden's response, F that B, bros before hoes.
Yeah. So funny.
So good. I'm telling you, there's so much more meat on that bone that we just have no idea. And I don't know that we'll ever find it out, but something tells me we might with Donald Trump, because he's not afraid to air it all out of what that actually was, that 2 hours. It'll be when he's already in president in the Oval Office. Somebody's going to ask him.
And Biden's on the beach?
Yes, yes.
I firmly believe that the reporting has been true in that, yes, he has been suffering from mental decline, dementia or otherwise. The discussion that they find him randomly naked wandering in the White House at night, I don't doubt that. I think that, if anybody who has ever existed with an aging adult, that there's stuff like that just happens. All right, with all that being said, that dude is going to leave smelling like roses in comparison to what his career and his 4 years were.
Absolutely.
He's going to walk away as like the champion hero of the Democrat Party or of Washington politicians, because he was nice guy Joe, friendly Joe. He's always been a jerk. Yeah. But yesterday is going to help feed into this narrative that Joe's this good dude.
Absolutely. And that will be the lasting memory of him, not the horrible presidency, not all the bad policy decisions. Look, I'm not forgetting those things, but I do believe most people will. And I think most people want to.
Look, 12 years down the road after Vance's second term, I might thank him for all the bad decisions he made.
You may be right, because it set us up in that position that we are in right now. Don't worry about Thune as the Senate Majority Leader. This was planned for. After a Neil Bortz report and a Fox News update, more of the Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Certainly you know by now, because the left won't let you forget it, that Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. 34, wow. But can you explain what just one of those felonies actually was? Limited time here, I'm going to make it very simple. He wrote a check. This is your Reader's Digest explanation. Michael Cohen, Trump's attorney, paid off Stormy Daniels to keep her mouth shut, and she didn't, about a sexual affair that she and Trump had many moons ago. Did he do it? Don't know. He was not found guilty of doing that. But Donald Trump had to pay Michael Cohen back for the $140,000 he paid to Stormy Daniels. So an agreement was reached that Donald Trump would pay Michael back in monthly payments of $35,000 over the course of 2017. Those were the 34 checks. Trump's business record showed those checks as a legal retainer. So that amounts to falsifying business records. How did it become a felony? By claiming that those business records were falsified in furtherance of another criminal conspiracy. What conspiracy? To conspire to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means. The unlawful means were a misdemeanor, but Jack Smith made them into 34 individual felonies because the purpose there was to prevent the election of Donald Trump. That's your simple explanation. Now, Jack Smith could have just charged Trump with one felony, totality of all of those payments. Oh, but that wouldn't carry the impact of 34 different felonies. It's like charging a bank robber with a separate felony for every dollar he took out of the bank. So there you go, folks. That shows just how evil Donald Trump is and how desperate the left is to smear him. Have a great day. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are his 4 C's. It's cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled. And with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. Third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, a free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no pressure, no risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, as unique, as special, and as rare as every diamond in our showcase. Proud to call ATL home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hey, Linda, it's Mark from the Safe House. It's a great day in America. Congratulations, President Trump, on your decisive victory. And now, another news, the Safe House has the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. And through the end of the year, we're offering huge rebates on all Browning safes. But wait, there's more. All gun safes are sales tax free at Atlanta Safe House. Yes, sales tax free. And remember, folks, don't let a crackhead or an illegal move or deliver your safe. So come down to the showroom or go to AtlantaSafehouse.com.
At Nelson Elder Care Law, we understand that family's everything. That's why we prioritize your family's future with personalized asset protection solutions. Call us today to schedule your legacy planning meeting and discover how our team can tailor our services to meet your family's unique needs, ensuring a secure and worry-free future. NelsonElderCareLaw.com.
WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. The 8 a.m. hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air.
It's a Republican trifecta. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. There are still 9 House races still on call, but the Fox News decision desk can now project Republicans will retain control of the House after flipping the White House and Senate. The House has one fewer Republican now. Matt Gaetz from Florida resigns after being chosen by President-elect Trump as his Attorney General nominee. He's been under investigation by the House Ethics Committee and was scheduled to vote tomorrow on whether to release its report.
Speaker Mike Johnson says when he had a conversation with Gaetz, Gaetz's reasoning was to basically give Florida Governor Ron DeSantis plenty of time to hold a special election so they don't threaten the majority in the House.
If we start the clock now, if you do the math, we may be able to fill that seat as early as January 3rd when we take the new oath of office for the new Congress. So Matt would have done us a great service by making that decision as he did on the fly. And so we're grateful for that.
But that does not mean that Gaetz has a clear path to Senate confirmation. Mixed reaction in the upper chamber where Senator Tommy Tuberville is supportive, while Senator Kramer calls it a long shot, and Senator Murkowski says he is not a serious candidate.
Fox's Aisha Hosni. President Biden is off to South America today for his final appearances at 2 major world summits.
The APEC summit in Lima, Peru will be President Biden's first stop on this week's long trip. It's where countries that surround the Pacific talk economics and security. Last year's APEC in San Francisco saw President Biden meet one-to-one with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. The two sides have been working to improve relations despite deep divisions on topics like Taiwan. Next week, it's the G20 summit in Brazil. Some analysts say the biggest topic of conversation will be one man not attending, President-elect Donald Trump and the policies he might pursue. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
America's listening to Fox News.
Have you thought about the causes the brands you support stand behind? Well, Pure Talk supports our veterans. They've relieved $10 million in veteran debt, donated tens of thousands monthly to prevent veteran suicide, and donated $50,000 to Mike Rowe Works, helping to provide scholarships to veterans after active duty. It's time to jump ship from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation welcomed U.S. Army Specialist Brent Menard into a new mortgage-free smart home in Florida. Now, while on a road clearance mission in Afghanistan, Brent's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. Brent became a T4 paraplegic. Tunnel to Towers built him a specially adapted smart home that allows severely injured heroes like Brett to live more independently. We hope you'll donate $11 a month so this great work can continue. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
If the left made any sense, they would be right. Listen to Extra 106.3.
Doug Rhino and Low
us on the Morning Extra, 404-741-1230 at Extra 1063 across the social media platforms. Morning, y'all. We welcome you to the show, and we welcome your input, welcome your phone calls, and welcome your complaints, too, if you'd like to share any of those. Not that I expect there will be a whole bunch of them.
I'll take it under advisement.
No, yeah, that's right. Not saying we'll change anything we're doing, but
I'll suggest that you email management and ownership, as I like to always point out on a regular basis.
Please do.
That's right, absolutely. I don't think many people will have complaints, but if you do, like I said,
your favorite bigot's on the Fan next week on next Friday.
Ooh, who?
Yeah, me. I'm your favorite bigot.
Oh, you.
Yes. See,
Yeah,
but I know that you're not that. So when you present it that way,
but that's the weird part. The crazy left will always start emailing the station about, I can't believe you're putting the bigot on. I'm like, yeah, okay. Can you spell bigot?
Yeah.
We have a problem here, don't we?
That's right. Oh my gosh, how crazy! So who are you in for next week?
I'm going to sub in for Matt Chernoff on Chuck and Chernoff next week. So I'll take care of that little bit of business, and then yeah, I was going to say that'll get us into the weekend. But it's a long promotion only just because whenever those complaints go into management and ownership, they pretty much just look at it and go, yeah, we've known him for about 14 years.
Yeah,
Doesn't
we
really
know
apply.
It's not any of those things, which is absolutely
Can
crazy.
I be a guest just to take some pressure off you?
I may.
By all means.
I'll call and be your pal, not Sal, but your pal.
Yeah.
Your pal Sal.
Hey, this is pal Sal from Dalton.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
is still one of the dumbest stories. It was a Braves rain delay show, and like 5 or 6 of us conspired to try and see if we could
Amazing.
derail the whole thing. And it ended up being a video on YouTube. And our friend, what this started with was our friend Brian Hoyt. And Brian Hoyt, we had an intern at the time, and we asked the intern, write all the ways you can make an out in Major League Baseball. And he had like 68 of them that he ended up tabulating. And Hoyt decided, I'm going to see if I can go on the Braves rain delay show and read off all 68 ways to make an out. And that's
good.
what it turned into. And then we had to wait for the rain delay. And that's how it all kind of came about.
And I remember listening to it for the very first time. Me and my son Jacob, he's in high school at the time, we're driving home in the rain, listening to it, and we heard it happen. And we just kept laughing, like, because we had no idea that it wasn't real. Right? We had no idea that it was planned and staged and
well, okay.
on the backside. The host didn't know.
Yes, the host had no idea.
Right.
And
neither did we.
And the funny part was, Hoyt, as he calls in as Sal, that was his name, he calls in and then he grabs his wife's phone and calls in on that one as well. So every single time they go to another caller, it's still him.
I know. And he's reading off the 643. He's just going through. It's the most. You said it is
insane.
available.
It's on YouTube. Yeah.
We need to share that, even from the
I'll
extra,
tweet it out,
because it is so freaking funny. If you love baseball and you get the humor to begin with, it is something that you'll laugh really hard at. Me and Jacob occasionally go back and just dig it up and try to find it. I think I actually had Lowe's send us like a hard copy one time so we could just listen to it at home. It was so stinking funny. 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Your Atlanta carrier experts, 770-GET-HEAT, centralheat.com. The only, one of the very few, maybe not the only, but one of the very, very few second-generation locally owned HVAC companies in town. Reach out to Chuck and his team at Central Heating and Air Conditioning. A lot of people, I don't say a lot, but many people on social media and even in this group of people that listen to this show were not fans of Thune that just got put in as the Senate Majority Leader. And Los is here to calm your nerves.
That's right.
And let you know that there is a plan in place. There's a reason that this happened.
I had friends of mine that were sending the text messages, what are we doing? We just finished kicking all their butts. How are they going with this establishment Republican? First off, it's not John Cornyn, so that's a plus.
Yeah.
That was probably the one that, as far as this radio station and this show, we all said, all right, that's the one we are not going to agree with.
Yeah.
All right, so Thune is your lesser of two evils, and by the way, he has been highly critical of Donald Trump and has tweeted out and put stuff out there that is absolutely idiotic. With all that being said, remember that Donald Trump, when he walked into the Oval Office in January of 2017, he had no friends in Congress. They looked at him as, why is he being looked at for Russian collusion? What do you mean that he wants to pass these bills? What do you mean that he wants to cut taxes? it took so long to get through the initial first 2 years of Donald Trump because Congress was not playing along with him. Fast forward to what has gone on over the last 2 years. Have you noticed how he was backing establishment Republicans in their races, in their primaries? Did you notice how he went after Bob Good, the head of the Freedom Caucus, and got him out in Virginia in place of an establishment Republican? Now, you'll say, well, why did he do that? Because he's playing the game differently this time around.
Yeah.
He is making these alliances knowing if I'm going to get stuff done, I'm going to get it fixed. Got to play the long game. And the long game means I got to get the establishment Republicans on board with what I'm doing. This is not dissimilar to Ronald Reagan in the 80s. It's what he was doing.
Yeah, this is chess. This is what he's doing. So when you look back and you look, Thune voted for a lot of things that we wanted him to vote for. The SAVE Act, the Secure the Border Act. He votes with J.D. Vance and Ted Cruz a lot in these things. But again, he's the whip. So he goes to every other senator and says, nope, you got to come this way. That's why Donald Trump wanted to bring him in. Plus, he knows that he's not up for re-election until 2028, so he has no worry about keeping him in place at least his entire term. And then he knows that after that, he can keep him in place because he's not going to lose in South Dakota. This is somebody who I think really did turn around his thought about Trump because he started to realize the evilness of the Democrats. South Dakota, he fights really hard for farming and saw what happened with farming and the way that they've been trying to tear down farmers, and especially with the unrealized capital gains. He was one of the first proponents to say, hey, this is a way for them to take away land. I think he's come around a lot. But again, I think it's brilliant what Trump is doing. He's trying to find good conservative establishment kind of guys that he can bring over and say, hey, we're not going to do this anymore. Okay? You're going to be able to make a living on your own, not through the government, but you are going to help me figure out what we can do best for all the American people.
Yeah, I think business people in general know that they have to do that. I mean, that's a quality of a good business leader, right? Being able to horse trade, being able to negotiate, knowing when you can take something here or give up something there to put yourself in a better position and your company in a better position to win. And that's what he's doing with the federal government. If we want to do that, he's running it like a business, which is what we ask him to do.
Consider that when you go back to 2017, 2018, remember, he's got the wind at his sails because he's just won the election. And nothing is happening outside of his executive orders because people would not get on board with what he was doing. They still looked at him as, this is not a serious politician. This is a reality TV star. He's not being serious. And we had a person like John McCain who had already lost an election, and he was one of the primary people that it didn't matter what Trump came up with. He was going to reject it. This is what the man is looking to avoid this time around. So, yes, you might be looking at John Thune and thinking, well, that's not very Trump-like. I can't believe that this establishment guy got in there. Trust me, Donald Trump already anticipated this. He's already been working on this. And that's why within an hour, you had John Thune talking about we have to support the president's agenda moving forward in order to solidify the party.
Because he knows as well. Like, if he doesn't play ball.
He's got the hammer, man.
Absolutely.
Donald Trump has the hammer right now.
And not everything looks like a nail, but nearly everything looks like a nail.
If you stick your head up.
That's right. That's right.
It will cause a problem.
But it was good to hear Thune's speech, too, though.
Yeah, I thought his speech was really good because I think he realized at that point just what we're saying. The border was the biggest issue. I think the voters let everybody know, including Thune, what is important to them and protecting America, national security, the border, and obviously the economy. And again, farming is so big for Thune. But what he said was this is an opportunity for us to fix this government, to establish this republic for a long, long time. And this is going to be something that I think he takes seriously at this point. His speech sounded as serious as can be. You can hear some of the political garble throughout some of these people's speech. This was straight. This was right up front. And this is, hey, we're going to fix America. We're going to make America first again. And it really does seem like Thune has come around to say, hey, this is more important than anything else. Fixing this government for the people and creating an opportunity for us to cut our deficit, balance our budget, and have prosperity.
And I'd be willing to bet anything that Donald Trump has already spoken with him. He had spoken with him many times leading up to it. They already had a conversation about the importance of all that stuff. And look, J.D. Vance changed his mind on Donald Trump. Maybe Thune has changed his mind a little bit on Donald Trump, too. I just know that he's not blind to. Talking about John Thune, he's not blind to the fact that Donald Trump was handed a mandate.
Yeah, and if you look through all the bills that Thune has voted for, he votes with J.D. Vance the entire time. And it does make me think that, hey, a lot of these guys were fed, because J.D. Vance will tell you, I fell into that trap of the media and
it's easy.
What I should say, what I shouldn't. And a lot of people fall into that. Thune was one of those people. But again, he's so strong in a lot of the things that the American people want when it comes to religion, when it comes to, obviously farming and agriculture. This guy's on some committees that are really important to Republican values, and I think it's a really good person to have that not only is a part of those committees, but also now able to whip everybody into shape.
The goal is have John Thune in your back pocket when it's needed. Mm-hmm. And for anyone who is looking at Donald Trump and wondering, well, why didn't you put your thumb on the scale? Why did you not get involved in this? Rick Scott was the first one who was out. We talked about how that was our favorite, but that he was not going to get through this process very far. And again, Cornyn beat him on the first ballot, and so that was the end of that. All right, so Thune is your guy. Have John Thune in your pocket when you need it. That is what the president is now focused on. And so when you hear about these nominees for these appointments, I'm telling you, they've already gone through the process of, can we get this person pushed through? There wasn't one person who has been nominated that Donald Trump does not believe he can get through when it comes to working with John Thune.
Yeah, and John Thune is also one of those people who really takes this job seriously and being a senator and really wants to do an outstanding job and continue to do an outstanding job. Some of the fears of what happens, and, when you have these confirmations that are coming up, these Senate confirmations, Democrats are going to do anything they can to call for any kind of recess so they don't have to vote them in at this point. And anytime, because remember, in Trump's first presidency, they held confirmation almost 2 years on some of the people that he wanted to confirm for these spaces. John Thune is not going to allow that to happen. So he is going to make sure that, hey, we get these votes in before the recess, or if there are any kind of recess appointments that need to be made, I'm going to allow that to happen. And that is part of the Constitution that they are allowed to do that. So this is a good power play by President Donald Trump at this point.
And he's worked with people before. He's shown us that he's worked with people that he doesn't necessarily agree with all the time, which again is a business background thing to do. But he did it with McCarthy when he was Speaker of the House. Remember, he was very supportive of McCarthy, and he's been very supportive of Mike Johnson. And I know we're talking about the Senate with Thune, but it's just another examples of him working with people that maybe conservatives like us get up in arms about, but Trump sees some value there and
J.D.
sees that.
Vance.
Yeah, there's another one. That's an even better example.
Just want to reference this. When we were in 2017 and you had so many issues with appointments where you had the Senate slow playing everything and making sure to be the resistance, we're not going to go with this reality TV star, recognize it took more than, at this point, we're at 260 days before Donald Trump had a majority of a cabinet that had been appointed.
Yeah.
They basically just slow played all of it. Having Thune is going to be a key. When you hear them talking about quickly getting this group in, that should be the goal moving forward. That's been their goal moving forward. They're playing chess on this.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing this time around.
And that's why they bring in, because you're going to hear a lot about the recess appointments. That's going to come, just like, like we're talking about today. This is something that Thune understands. This is something that he will look to Article 2 and say, hey, no, listen, you guys can't slow play this anymore. We need to fix this government right away. The appointments need to happen. John Thune understands that in order to get fundamental change over the first 2 years, to be able to vote on things that make sense for the American people, he needs to use everything he can, and he's smart enough to do it.
And I do believe that he's in line. It's not like he's out of line with what the American people have voted for, and I believe that Donald Trump wants a secure border, cutting taxes. Is he going to be in favor of cutting the federal government the way that Donald Trump is? He may not be in line as much with that, but he's not going to stand in the way of it, I don't believe, because he knows he can't.
He can't.
It's exactly right. He knows the American people gave Donald Trump a mandate. So he's not going to stand in the way of the things that he even may not be 100% behind. But I think on the issues that matter, border, economy, the two things that the American people are most concerned with, he's fallen right in line with that. So that does give me at least some hope.
Yeah, I mean, and when you look at the Secure the Border Act, that was one of the ones that the Democrats kept complaining about. It's too strict, too that. He was one of the co-sponsors of that bill along with Ted Cruz. So this is somebody who is taking the border serious. He takes the economy serious, and he takes agriculture and energy very serious. He knows that in order to be dominant in this world, energy is number one. So that's somebody who I'm going to trust with energy issues.
They like to use the word codify on a regular basis. Day one, through executive order, you're going to seal up the border. You're also going to ramp up energy production because that essentially, those new guidelines that started on day one under Joe Biden were what hampered that moving forward. But now it's time to codify. So when it comes to, let's say, the next tax bill, which I believe will have some further tax cuts that are going to be built in for every single American, including corporations that want to stay here. All right, I'm all in favor of all these things. Well, let's make sure to build into law what we're doing as far as our spending at the border and how we're securing our border. These are the things that we have a chance to do over the next 2 years that cannot be undone by an executive order from a future president.
The other thing that I know John Thune is very serious about is taxes. And, the death tax bill is one of the ones that I've been very afraid of, especially for farmers, the ability to take away land from farmers using the death tax. John Thune is against that, obviously. He's also looking forward to Trump tax cuts. He loves the Trump tax cuts. He understands how important they are. So this is somebody who whether or not you like him for certain issues, you do like him for the strength of the border, tax cuts, and the things that Donald Trump wants to get implemented right away.
Indeed. This is the Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. Thank you for being here. 404-741-1230. Any response to our discussion about John Thune or about any of the other things that we've talked about, any of the other appointments and the reactions to them? Because there's been a big reaction at the networks, believe it or not. The networks and shows like The View are quickly adjusting to this new Trump world. We'll explain how next on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug. The Morning Xtra has you covered from 6 to 10, and Kimmer's got you on the ride home.
The same ballless bastards who wouldn't stand up when Biden came up with the most embarrassing and worst withdrawal in the history of the U.S. military. Yeah. Who wouldn't stand up when they pushed drag queens in recruitment, and now they can't get anybody to join. Who didn't stand up when the DI stuff was shoved down their throat, where they'd all kept quiet in the background, will suddenly find their balls when Trump is president. This is the same military a few years ago when Milley was in charge, who said he would alert the Chinese military if Trump was going to do something against them, which is treason. Why is his head not on a pike?
That story disappeared. That story was a story for maybe a day and a half, and it was like a side note saying, well, he even told the Chinese once he really ought to and it was just like it was like a Shakespearean aside. That black ram is stopping your white you. I mean, I couldn't freaking believe it. It's gone. Nobody remembers that stuff.
The Kimmer Show every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m. on Xtra 106.3 and the Xtra app.
Yes, Trump is president. Yes, everything looks like it's heading in the right direction. But you can't plan for certain things, and you can't understand when certain things are going to happen, like hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, all these things, even power outages that you're not expecting. That's why you need to be prepared, and there's one place you need to be doing that, and that's True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. Rhino here for my friends over at True Prep. My friends Matt, Joey, both Georgia Tech engineers. They do a great job telling me exactly what I should be doing, where I should be setting it up, and they give me all the advice on where to get started. Amy is my expert when it comes to freeze-dried food, especially the Harvest Right freeze dryer. I love to grow my own food, and I'd like to keep it for as long as possible. So up to 35 years, that's what the Harvest Right freeze dryer is for. But they also have prepackaged foods, and she's tasted every single one of them. So if I go in there, I'm like, does it taste good or no? She'll be like, no, don't get that one, get this. This is what you want in a locally owned and operated business, and this is why I ask. Tell them Rhino sent you. Go down there and check it out. Ask as many questions as you want. They are not going to make fun of you because you're just starting today, but you need to start today. So head over to True Prep in Marietta on Cobb Parkway. Whether it's freeze-dried food, water filtration, first aid kits, solar, whatever you need to take care of yourself and your family, including the largest selection of AR-15s, firearms, firearm accessories, and ammo, they have it all at the lowest price around. Now, if you are intimidated and you don't know where to start, well, guess what? They got amazing workshops that they hold right there in Marietta on Cobb Parkway, and you can find them online at trueprep.com. It's TRUPREP.com. TruePrep.com. Prepare today for a worry-free tomorrow with True Prep.
You may know that ATL Turf Co. has become a leader in artificial grass design and installation services, but you may not know that ATL Turf Co. is a large artificial grass distributor. We only sell U.S.-made, premium name brand turf at factory direct pricing below wholesale. And now we're open to the public with large inventories of lawn and landscape, putting green, athletic, and pet turf on sale. Plus, all remnants are on sale for only $1 per square foot, direct from Dalton to our warehouse in Kennesaw. Visit atlturfco.com to learn more. atlturfco.com.
You know the old expression, I love it when a plan comes together? Well, with our First Liberty Notes, this has been so true. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, we've been the local lender who said yes when the big banks say no. A couple of months ago, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Folks from airline pilots to physicians to even pastors are now earning 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of local small businesses. If you're a qualified investor with a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. Go to firstlibertyga.com and see if our First Liberty Notes are right for you. Go to firstlibertyga.com. That's firstlibertyga.com.
First Liberty Notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. SEC accredited investor status must be verified. Securities not offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Hey, Georgia neighbors, it's time to expect more from your Medicare Advantage. Discover Sonder Health's custom plans tailored just for Georgians. Saunders offers unique benefits, including special plans for those living with chronic conditions. Some plans even come with grocery or gas benefits to support your overall well-being. Sonder Health makes it easy to get the coverage you need. See for yourself what today's Medicare Advantage can do for you. Visit SonderHealthPlans.com, a healthier state of life. Sonder Health Plans is an HMO and PPO with Medicare contracts. Enrollment in Sonder Health Plans depends on contract renewal.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Years ago, when I first started to feel pain in my hands and my joints, I did what most people did. I masked them, to feel better for a few hours, only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again. Not until about a decade later did I understand that there's a better way. It's called Relief Factor. The good news is, for you, that you don't have to mask your pain anymore. Relief Factor makes it easy to get rid of the pain completely and naturally. Now, they have a 3-week quick start. It's $19.95. For less than $1 a day, instead of masking the pain, try Relief Factor. Well, it's a unique formula of ingredients that helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors, and it's 100% drug-free. And right now, their 3-week quick start is $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com. Call 800-4-RELIEF. That's 800-4-RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask the pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Thursday, November 14th. Republicans have won enough seats in the U.S. House to maintain control. Juan Ciscomani defeated Kirsten Engel in Arizona's 6th district, securing the 218th seat for the GOP. This victory completes the Republican Party's sweep into power, ensuring their control of the House, Senate, and the presidency alongside President Donald Trump. 2 linemen were working on a project near Spalding and Little Streets in Griffin when an equipment failure led to a tragic accident. 1 lineman was killed and another suffered serious life-threatening injuries. The city of Griffin has identified the deceased as Eric Weems and the injured lineman as Trent Granger, who remains in critical but stable condition at the hospital. In sports, Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins was included on the team's injury report yesterday after being sacked 3 times and hit 9 times in the Falcons' loss to the Saints on Sunday. Cousins is listed with injuries to his right elbow and shoulder. Despite the injuries, he participated in the team's walkthrough on Wednesday in preparation for Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
The 8 o'clock hour is brought to you by Central Heating and Air Conditioning, your Atlanta carrier expert, 770-GET-HEAT, and centralheat.com is their website if you'd like to go there. We saw The View get the greatest ratings that they maybe have ever had the day after the election. That's the day they were all wearing black and they were just, even...
just crazy ladies tuning in?
Totally. My Aunt Peg, she was like, I can't wait to watch and see what they have to say. And probably not for the same reason that you and I wanted to watch, but
they wanted to cry together.
I guess so. But I mean, most people were going just to see them either cry with them or whatever, like you're saying, or like us going there and watching them just melt down like a bunch of crazy cackling hens that they are. But Los hit the nail on the head yesterday when we were playing the positive statements about them on The View. It's an entertainment show, and they, no matter what happens, they at ABC know that there's a shift in the political climate, and they're reacting to that. ABC is scrambling to find pro-Trump voices. This is being reported in so many different places. Pro-Trump voices for the View specifically, because every one of the hens endorsed Kamala. But it's not just The View. Also Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Also World News Tonight. At the end, yes, they're libs, and they all believe the same thing. But first and foremost, if they want to keep their job, because they see what's happening at CNN and MSNBC, it is a ratings game and a bottom line game. If you don't have anybody that can support the bottom line and get you ratings, you are going to be fired, and you're seeing it happen in real time, and they're panicked because of it.
You know, I think The View is going to have a hard time with that, though, because they've already had some really good, strong people in there that have tried to talk about the Republicans and not even in favor. Look, Meghan McCain. She was on that and left because of the hatred, and it wasn't even she was not even supporting Trump at the time. She was talking about common sense strategies and common sense things. Now, did she defend certain things that Donald Trump did? Yeah, absolutely. But she went the other side and does not like Donald Trump at all. She couldn't deal with any of the women on there, so she's gone. Elizabeth, what's her name? The one married to the Giants.
Hasselbeck?
Hasselbeck, thank you. Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Now, she was more conservative, and they ran her off of there. So I don't think The View is going to be able to pull anybody in that's serious or conservative, but I think CNN and some of the others may be able to. I wonder if they try to push Jeff Duncan to be more Trump-like and look at, he put out his little op-ed now all of a sudden in favor of Donald Trump and why it worked.
Of course.
When this guy was a complete scumbag. So I hope he, just stays with CNN and becomes the establishment that you see and stays there, because I don't know who they'd get.
Right now, we have politics that's influencing culture, and the culture is now changing. This is a scenario where in 2016, 2017, it was important to be, I'm part of the resistance. It's part of the culture, and we're going to be able to be the resistance. Man, everything that resistance stands for, from ladies shaving their head, is so out of step with the rest of America. And when you're in the ratings business, your business is eyeballs. It's ears. That's what you're trying to get on a regular basis. So it doesn't surprise me that the LA Times has decided, hey, we're flushing everybody out of here because we need to have a more balanced group of editors that are talking about Donald Trump. We need to have this across the board. You cannot survive in this next era of Trump just being completely anti when you realize you've got your butts kicked in an election.
Washington Post, and look, saved
his company.
Yeah, they were the first. I mean, Bezos was smart enough to get out there, and I could see them shifting off half the panel of The View and then replacing them all together. I do still
be great.
Oh, it'd be terrific. Not that I would watch. I'm not going to watch it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter, but it would be interesting and it would be humorous, no doubt. I'm not mistaken in the fact that I think it'll still be a liberal show, to your point. I just think if you take it and you get rid of half of those ladies and replace them with relatively conservative half of I think the show would have a new dynamic and be probably entertaining to a lot more people. And I think Los is right. The politics is influencing the culture right now, and they know they have to do it. I mean, there's not a reason to watch CNN except for Scott Johnson. That's the only person.
Which that's a guy who, if you want to bring on to a show, obviously not The View because they want women.
No, for sure.
Because they're sexist. But the reality is that's a guy who could really succeed with his own show on CNN, which would be smart to me.
I don't know why they've not done it yet.
You had Hannity and Combs, which was a really good balance. Combs was out of his mind, but was a really good show for a long time.
And a really nice dude. Though I thought he was crazy. Yeah, right. Though I thought he was crazy, I enjoyed the show because I really liked him. Yeah. Even though I couldn't stand his policies, at the end of the day, I really liked him. And I think that's the dynamic that most of these shows are going to have to go for, is appealing to both sides of the political aisle. And look, I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be good for America. Do I think that this is going to change the landscape of mainstream media altogether? Definitely not.
But see, The View is going to think, oh, what about somebody like Liz Cheney? That's the kind of Republican they want to bring.
I don't think they will, man. I think they know they have to.
They need a Tommy Lahren.
Yeah,
they need somebody who's really strong.
And I think they recognize that.
Well, the problem that always occurs with that show is when you bring on somebody who is intelligent and typically good looking, when it comes to being the conservative voice, then it turns into a 4-on-1, 5-on-1 show.
But that's why I'm talking about
that's why you've got to balance this differently.
Half the panel.
There was a way that this was done, and it was because there was a certain level of, I would say, professionalism when you had Bob Beckel on the 5. Bob Beckel for the longest time, rest in peace, Bob Beckel.
Yeah.
But that guy was the Democrat who was signaling and speaking Democrat policy to the rest of the panel, and the rest of the panel respected the fact that Bob Beckel was well-researched and had his opinions and was going to be strong with it. What would happen is anytime you've had any sort of even minorly conservative person on The View, it turns into, here's Whoopi, and here's Barbara Walters before she was gone, and everybody else basically going into full attack mode on somebody who is just basically speaking sanity to these women.
Yeah, look at GMA, too. That's another thing. I mean, the lead on GMA is Stephanopoulos, right? I mean, he's a guy that has been just this Democrat, I don't know, Democrat leader, essentially. And he was kind of the tip of the spear.
I mean, he was the engineer for... How do we have these women that are coming out of the woodwork, coming after Bill Clinton? All right, how do we tarnish all of them so America won't believe that he was raping?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So they put that guy on their flagship show. So I think now, because according to many outlets, New York Post, New York Times, everybody recognizes what is happening. They're not going to be able to do that anymore, not and get away with it, not and survive, because alternative media is getting a seat at the table, which they've never done before, and that makes it even more difficult for these mainstream outlets to survive.
Sophia wants Candace Owens on The View.
Me too, by the way.
That would be amazing. Look, here's the reality, though. The View, I don't know how they can handle this, Carlos. How do you take some really conservative people? Let's say you did do a Candace Owens and a Tommy Lahren. There's no way they could keep the other half of their audience. They'll lose their mind. The liberal women on PEG will be like, I'll never watch Candace Owens. Oh, she's the worst.
Or is she influenced by what is on there every day, no different than she's influenced by it now? You know what I mean? If you watch it and you actually are washed in the blood of The View, you're going to continue to watch, I expect, and then the influence continues.
The reason why I can't watch it, I tried after the election. I gave it a couple days of viewing.
Gave it 11 minutes.
It turned into basically like horses. It was like 5 nags, okay? And it's just nag, okay? The goal that you have to have, if you bring in somebody who is more Republican-oriented, more conservative, they have to be fun. If you can get away with it, then that's a problem. Like Candace Owens,
Cat Timpf,
she ain't fun. Cat Timpf is fun.
Yeah.
But that's the sort of thing. It's got to be the right person who's fun, who can have their opinion at the same time, be able to dress it up in a way where you go, that person's entertaining. Like, I would have a beer with that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of somebody beside Cat Timpf.
We're talking like
the redheaded libertarian's a good one.
There you go.
There's a lot of good ones.
Because 20 years ago, Tucker Carlson was doing everything in a bow tie. All right, he didn't come across as fun. Now it's like, all right, Tucker's a little more loose. He's a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
That is what you're trying to go for.
Yeah.
I don't know who they'll get.
Dana Loesch would be a good one.
I see, but I
I couldn't deal with her.
Yeah,
That's
she's
what I'm
not.
saying.
She's not as fun
I'm
either.
just telling
She's
you,
super serious.
Who
super
can
intense.
crack you with a smile?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's
It
what
takes.
you're going to need on these shows.
Now, who do you get? See, I think you have to balance it out if you're going to do that. You really want to bring this in and make it nonpartisan and make it a conversation. You have to get 2 and 2, right? That's where you want to be. So do you get rid of the really crazy ones like an Anna Navarro and a Sonny Hostin and keep Whoopi and Joy? Do you get rid of Joy because she's just annoying and Whoopi because they're problems and they're racist and all the things that Whoopi culturally appropriates being Jewish. Get rid of her. What do you do at this point? But I don't think you're going to see much of a change in The View, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they won't last if they don't.
They get one big day, and they keep them on. I mean, those 2 days after the election gave them enough to go.
They get to claim that they have their highest ratings in a decade. All right. This is really what happens, and we've seen this across the board when it came to CNN and MSNBC. In the era of Donald Trump, if you couldn't be anything more than just the people that were criticizing Donald Trump when he was out of office, suddenly their viewership took off. What we've seen is once he got back into office this time around, their viewership took off because they were feeding at that trough. I think The View, it's going to turn into, all right, we rode a week of Donald Trump. Now what?
Yeah, but that's my point, right? You can claim that, we had these great ratings for 2 days or 1 week or whatever it is. Yeah. Those people, those decision makers behind the scenes are going, right, but that's a spot in, that's just a drop in the pan. Yeah. We've got to plan for the future. And though they can claim it out loud, internally they know that is not true. That is not going to last.
Yeah, they'd collapse very quickly, Carlos. I mean, it's going to be, hey, we'll ride that, and then they'll just blow it somewhere anyway.
But my question is, why when you had CNN and MSNBC crater, why did The View shoot up? Because it's still the same programming. Yeah. But you wonder.
Well, because so many people like us were.
I think out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Let's go see the train wreck.
My wife has never watched The View ever.
Neither have I.
She said she pulled it up in her office just to see what these clowns were going to say.
Maybe that's the factor.
So many people, even on Twitter, people that we follow, people that listen to the show all the time, people that are on our YouTube, they're all like, I'm definitely watching The View today.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely watch. Because you wanted to see them in misery. Really.
That's true.
That's
what at least the newcomers were.
I wanted to see him cry. I wanted to see them overreact the way that they overreact. Yeah, I wanted to see them throw out
I wouldn't have cried.
I wouldn't have cried. I wanted to see them throw out the whole Project 2025 lies. You're going to be in internment camps. I wanted to see how bad they were going to push what was coming.
By the way, how the hell during the Veterans Day golf tournament did we get into that conversation? Rhino and I were dying laughing like don't cry. Don't cry, Abu.
Don't cry. Give it to me, Joey.
Don't cry. He died like a dog.
Like a dog.
He cried. I wouldn't have cried.
We're on the green. We're both like, I wouldn't have cried.
I wouldn't have cried. That's the greatest, man.
Al-Baghdadi.
That was my first introduction to Shane Gillis, and I don't know that I've really seen anything since. I'm sure he's hysterical.
He's been getting really popular.
Yeah, he's been blowing up.
The Bud Light ads are actually.
I actually did see that.
Bring him back to comedy. Thank you, Bud Light.
Imagine that.
Comedy and breasts.
That's what it takes.
That's all we got to do.
That's what it takes. It's not a hard recipe to get dudes. It's really, really simple. Morning Xtra and Xtra 106.3. Elon Musk is the Batman of our time. Next on Xtra 106.3.
Stream Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, Glenn Beck, Fox News, and even NASCAR on Sundays. Anywhere on the Xtra 106.3 app. Download the app now and get 24/7 access to the live stream, the latest news, and everything you need to know about Atlanta's only conservative talk station. Download the Xtra 106.3 app for Apple or Android and check out even more great original content at thepodcastpark.com.
It either is or it isn't. When it comes down to it, that's all that really matters when choosing a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. It's either certified by Mercedes-Benz factory-trained and certified technicians, or it isn't. It's either backed by an unlimited mileage warranty for up to 7 years, or it isn't. It's absolute confidence in genuine Mercedes-Benz parts, or it isn't. Welcome to the Mercedes-Benz Holiday Love Celebration Sales Event, now through December 2nd. Come in today and take advantage of rates as low as 3.24% APR special financing on select models. Because in the end, it's either Mercedes-Benz certified pre-owned or it isn't. We're proud to be Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964. Not all offers apply to all vehicles, and special financing available to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Services through December 2nd, 2024. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call 770-390-0700 for details.
Neil Borch here. Maybe you've already taken the steps to improve your health, maybe save your life. You're using a CPAP for your sleep apnea. I've been using one for well over 20 years. So right now I'm here to tell you about a source for CPAPs and CPAP supplies here in the Atlanta area. CPAPs, etc. They're in Alpharetta. They have whatever you need. Roddy and Sharon are your CPAP experts, and they'll ship nationwide. More information, CPAPs.com.
Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watch Company, where quality and value make the difference. Locally owned and located in Sandy Springs, offering you the finest selection of unique diamonds, sapphires, rubies, and emerald jewelry, as well as other fine gemstones. Lee Brandt Jewelry and Watches has been servicing Rolex watches for over 30 years, and their Rolex-trained watchmaker will service your watch in their state-of-the-art Rolex service center in their store. Lee Brandt uses only genuine Rolex parts, and their estimates are free. Drop by Lee Brandt in the Trader Joe's Shopping Center in Sandy Springs or visit LeeBrandt.com.
If you notice any cracks in your foundation, they're not going to go away. They need to be addressed as soon as possible to reduce additional costs that come with repair. Ramjack is the best company in the industry for repairing your foundation. We have the highest quality products in the nation. So, if you are experiencing foundation problems, please contact us at ramjack.com/Atlanta or call us at 770-502-8881. That's 770-502-8881.
For the purpose of this commercial, we'll refer to erectile dysfunction as ED. This is the story of Ed. No one likes Ed. Ed can be a real problem, a real downer. Ed can come between you and your partner. And if you let Ed go unchecked, Ed'll continue to destroy your hanky-panky plans. Ed has taken over your life. On date night, all you can think about is Ed. When you roll over in bed for the morning smooch, there's Ed. And when you're cooking a romantic dinner for your wife, there's Ed in an apron. So how do you get rid of Ed? Kick him to the curb with Total Body Therapy of Georgia. They're Ed experts. They understand what causes Ed to be Ed, and they know how to get Ed going in the right direction. He'll learn to stand on his own with proven all-natural therapies that don't require surgery or downtime. So if you've had enough of Ed, take matters into your own hands. Call Total Body Therapy of Georgia at 404-777-1911. Learn more online at tbtofga.com.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth if they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kimmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
The Extra 106.3 app is your live connection to the station, streaming free across Georgia. But it's also loaded with all our original shows and podcasts. Listen to exclusive shows from Janelle King, Ben Burnett, and so many more. Grab the Extra 106.3 app now and start streaming.
Doug, Rhino, and Lowe's song.
We have a leader in the clubhouse.
We do, yes. If we're putting people on the View, we're going to draft Kat Temp. We've all decided that she may be the person to go.
Rhino put it forth, and I agree. A professional comedian who knows how to do this. And as you joked around about it, you're like, listen, she's a Waffle House girl. Like she'd be fun to go hang out with
at Waffle House.
And when I listened to her on the Joe Rogan podcast, the thing that cracked me up the most about her, she talked about how she couldn't wait to being pregnant because she was ready to smoke.
She's not straight out of Compton. She's straight out the trailer. To
There's a little bit of that.
There's a lot of it. Not a little bit. There's a lot of it.
She's got that aspect.
She does.
But I think it's cool. And so that's where I'm talking about the non-buttoned up person. Like Rhino picked it out right away. It's like, I don't want,
definitely not.
If you're going on The View, I don't want you to be buttoned up. I want, if you're going to portray and talk about a conservative perspective, do it with fun. Kill him with kindness.
She did. And she does. She's so
Personally,
funny.
I think Matt Walsh should dress up like a woman and just identify that way and be a part of that. Matt Walsh as a woman, Cat Timpf, I'd be happy.
That'd be a good panel.
Like I appreciate the discussion of Candace Owens and Janelle King.
Yeah.
Janelle is so nice.
Too nice.
It's just how it would be. And Candace Owens, she's not
set it on
she's
fire.
Not comedy.
Yeah, no.
You need that aspect of how you're going to do this thing. That's what I'm pushing for.
Yeah, same thing with like a Judge Jeanine Pirro that a lot of people are saying here, Sophia and Leanne. But the reality is she's not like, I love her insight into, why lawfare is lawfare and all those things. And I think Judge Jeanine Pirro is amazing, but she's not fun. Like, right?
Yeah, no, she's not.
She can
No,
be like
absolutely
sometimes
not.
on the 5 when she does that. I'm like, all
Once in a
right,
while.
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, but I think more to your point about it being a comedian or somebody that can do it with lightheartedness, laugh at themselves and then laugh at the idiocy on the other side, be self-deprecating. All those things are important.
The greatest one that we've had in probably the last 20 or 30 years, that was Norm Macdonald.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Norm Macdonald.
So great.
Pretty conservative. You never really knew it as far as like what his politics were, but he made fun of things in a way where it caused you to look at it and say, what exactly are our politicians doing? What exactly is going on in society? That was, to me, the guy that hit the nail on the head. Where it didn't matter what show he went on. It was always Norm Macdonald's going to deliver.
And it's always that awkward smile, laugh where you weren't sure which way he was going. You had no idea how to. Is he being sarcastic? Is he being serious? I have no idea. My buddy Scotty, who lives in Nashville, is the exact same way. He will talk to you about something that you're so uncomfortable with, and then you're uncomfortable because you don't know how to respond to him because you don't know which way he's going.
Norm Macdonald delivered, I think it was like a 3 or 4 minute joke on Conan O'Brien that had the worst punchline. And you were dying laughing because you thought about how long you waited for such an awful punch. Like the laughter was in how long he kept telling the story that gave you a terrible end of the joke. That was it.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
I wonder, there's some other ones that I was trying to think of. A lot of people are saying SE Cup is one of those that, fell apart and just went the wrong way.
Oh, yes.
So we need to get away from those kind of people. Who else I was trying to think of that could do this?
Well, Gutfeld right now is the king of all this stuff.
Well, yeah,
but he's got his show,
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what about Megyn Kelly? Is she too serious and too strong for them?
And she's not going to leave her post.
And nobody liked her when she tried to do regular I'm friendly Megyn Kelly with the Megyn Kelly show. It's like it just Megyn Kelly is supposed to be a hard ass.
Yeah, and she is.
And you
that's
enjoy
when
it.
she's at her best is when she is. Are y'all seeing this? The Shane Copeland thing? It's just breaking out.
Yeah, I just saw it.
The fact that the FBI have raided the CEO of Polymarket. I mean, well, this is kind of out of the blue, kind of random. Won't know much about it. Just the fact that it's happened, and hopefully we'll learn more. But
he made too much money.
I would imagine. Did something. Holy cow! Anyway, Batman. I am Batman. Batman. We actually have a Batman, Los.
Yes. Now, I know you're not going to get this.
I know, but I'll try.
That's okay.
Let me type it in. I'll type it in the Google.
So one of the storylines that runs through this being the Christopher Nolan Batman series. Okay, so you've seen those, right?
No, I've never seen those. Well, which ones are the Christopher Nolan ones? Let me.
Heath Ledger is the Joker.
I saw the Joker, yes. So I saw Heath Ledger as the Joker, whatever Batman that was, and then I saw the Joker, the standalone.
All right, so that's The Dark Knight.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so then the subsequent third film is The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
But the story of The Dark Knight is that when the town is at its very worst, you have the Batman who is able to take on some of the aspects of you're not doing everything the right way. As far as, you're kind of skirting outside the law. But
meaning Batman was.
The whole administration of the city was doing it in order to clean up the city.
Okay.
And it all fell on Batman.
Okay.
All right. So I say that to point out that is Elon Musk right now. Because the word that has been running around Capitol Hill is this. that if you step outside of what the Donald Trump agenda is going to be, Elon Musk is going to finance your primary competitor.
Yeah.
So if you were ever sitting back saying, I'm not going to go along with Trump, well, you didn't worry about it, because who's going to come up with, let's say, $100,000, $500,000, $1 million to get you out of your seat? Elon Musk can.
And his pack.
He is that person we need right now. That is, as much as you say, well, that's not really fair. You can't have one of the world's richest men deciding what's going to happen.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can. Democrats have had it for a long time in the Soros family.
And so think about that. You now have the Batman that's there for Donald Trump right now.
And again, just like any hero, like Batman, a superhero, or whatever you want to call him, because he might not be considered a superhero. But the reality is you created him. And the Democrats created this. So what Donald Trump did, and Susie Wiles, which is what I love, the architecture behind the way they were running this was, let's do what they do. Let's early vote. Let's make sure that, people know it's okay to mail in their ballots no matter what. If they're voting for me, mail it in, whatever you need to do. Make sure you vote, get in. For you. And the other thing is, let's combat George Soros with our own people who understand why it's so important. And Elon Musk is that Batman. He is that guy, and the Democrats created this. Donald Trump, they just said, hey, we're going to do the same.
He's a guy who holds no political office.
And doesn't want to.
There's no official power. In fact, one of the reasons why I will never, ever, ever, ever get rid of X, Twitter, is because when Elizabeth Warren was trying to...
I've got this pulled up right in front of me right now.
Read it out, how she was trying to grandstand and how Elon Musk dunked on her.
Yep. The Office of Government Efficiency is off to a great start with split leadership. 2 people to do the job of 1 person. Yeah, that seems really efficient. And Elon responds, unlike you, neither of us are being paid. Boom. So indeed, it's very efficient.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, this is exactly what I said yesterday. It's stupid.
The Batman, okay?
Yeah.
This is the person in the shadows that we've needed for forever, that we've sat back and said, what if you happen to have this one guy who, with the stroke of a pen, can make everything... And in fact, he can tell the Jeff Duncans of the world when they're going, well, I don't know about this Trump proposal. You go, do you want to hold on to office? Because there's somebody in your district that I'll find, and I'll pay $5 million, and you'll be out. It's so tied to money.
Yeah.
That if you overwhelm somebody with money, you'll take their seat.
Oh, especially one's obsessed with the power and the money behind it.
Most often that happens. Sure. 99.9% of that time that happens. However, Kamala Harris is the unicorn that can get $1 billion and be in debt to $20 million by the end of it. So 99.9% of the time that is the case. Kamala Harris is so bad that she, she's the one that breaks the
well, she has never run a business or actually worked for, like everything's been handed to her.
But
and when
that
everything's
so glaring.
You can waste it, right? $1 billion. But think about what she did. She didn't run on actual things. She didn't worry about all her ads, all the money went to people who never even performed. They paid, what's the Megan Thee Stallion, the one that came on stage in Atlanta?
$5 million?
Yeah, $5 million?
Yeah. Oprah $1 million, and Oprah deny, and then
because
was
it went
like,
to Harpo.
Yeah,
I didn't get money.
Went to her production company.
Well, somebody had to pay for the production. You tell me that was $1 million production? I don't believe that it was. I believe that looked like
Trump thought it was.
Because
Trump said, that's worth $1 million. It got me the votes I needed.
Yeah, for him, right. That's what you mean.
She looked like an idiot on there.
Yes, she does. In anywhere and everywhere.
Not Oprah, by the way.
No.
I love Oprah.
I don't. I just don't.
I don't want her coming after me. She got a lot of money.
That didn't seem to help.
Can't wait to listen to UFOs later today.
Yes, I know, right? Listen to UFOs.
I'm going to listen to the entire day. Yesterday was a big day.
Yeah,
the entire hearing. I need 2 hours and 20 minutes. You need to set this aside for me. 10 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm going to go to UFO land.
Okay. All right, then.
They got new breaking information. It'll change your mind today.
When we come back, Matt Gaetz is exactly what America needs on Xtra 106.3.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3. This is Atlanta's new home for Fox News, Xtra 106.3 FM.
Certainly you know by now, because the left won't let you forget it, that Trump was convicted of 34 felonies. 34, wow. But can you explain what just one of those felonies actually was? Limited time here, I'm going to make it very simple. He wrote a check. This is your Reader's Digest explanation. Michael Cohen, Trump's attorney, paid off Stormy Daniels to keep her mouth shut, and she didn't, about a sexual affair that she and Trump had many moons ago. Did he do it? Don't know. He was not found guilty of doing that. But Donald Trump had to pay Michael Cohen back for the $140,000 he paid to Stormy Daniels. So an agreement was reached that Donald Trump would pay Michael back in monthly payments of $35,000 over the course of 2017. Those were the 34 checks. Trump's business record showed those checks as a legal retainer. So that amounts to falsifying business records. How did it become a felony? By claiming that those business records were falsified in furtherance of another criminal conspiracy. What conspiracy? To conspire to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means. The unlawful means were a misdemeanor, but Jack Smith made them into 34 individual felonies because the purpose there was to prevent the election of Donald Trump. That's your simple explanation. Now, Jack Smith could have just charged Trump with one felony, totality of all of those payments. Oh, but that wouldn't carry the impact of 34 different felonies. It's like charging a bank robber with a separate felony for every dollar he took out of the bank. So there you go, folks. That shows just how evil Donald Trump is and how desperate the left is to smear him. Have a great day. Neil Bortz, Extra 106.3.
A musician with technical knowledge can play all the right notes. But one who cares enough to play from the heart gives music soul. At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking. Because when you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more, you're unstoppable. Truist, leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Start feeling unstoppable. Visit truist.com/care. Truist Bank, member FDIC, leading based on top 10 U.S. commercial bank.
As the year comes to a close, now is the perfect time to evaluate your estate plan to protect your hard-earned assets from the high tax rates. Nelson Elder Care Law is here to help you keep your assets secure for future generations. As a family-owned and family-focused business, our mission is to exceed your expectations, offering absolute assurance and peace of mind. With our expertise in customized estate planning, Medicaid planning, probate administration, guardianship, and conservatorship, we protect what matters most to you. Schedule a free legacy planning meeting today to discover how we can help families just like yours. Don't let the government decide how to spend your money. Contact us at 678-250-9355, 678-250-9355. Or visit NelsonElderCareLaw.com. Nelson Elder Care Law, your partner in asset protection.
WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. The 9 a.m. hour is presented by Southern Exteriors. Quality and precision you can rely on.
A red alert moment. I was shocked. Give Matt a chance. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News. That's some senators' reaction to President-elect Trump's plan to nominate now former Florida House Republican Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. He's resigned from Congress effective immediately. The President-elect has long had Gaetz' support.
He says Matt's going to end weaponized government, protect our borders, dismantle criminal organizations, and restore America's badly shattered faith and confidence in the Justice Department. The House Ethics Committee was investigating allegations Gaetz was part of a scheme tied to the sex trafficking of a minor, but now that Gaetz has stepped down, that investigation is going to stop. Should also mention that Gaetz has long denied the allegations.
Fox's Mark Merritt at the House Ethics Committee was due to meet tomorrow to vote on whether to release its report on Gaetz. It's not clear now whether that will happen. Republicans, it is now confirmed, will control the White House, Senate, and the House, retaining the majority there.
The trifecta was clinched after that race in Arizona was called for Republican incumbent Juan Ciscomani defeating Democrat challenger Kirsten Engel. It came on the heels of GOP incumbent Ken Calvert defeating Democrat challenger Will Rollins in California's 41st district. The majorities are small in both the House and the Senate, meaning Republicans have little margin for error, and we could see that tested early in some of these cabinet confirmations.
Fox's Griff Jenkins. The Beirut, Lebanon suburbs are hit by Israeli airstrikes for a third straight day, and civilians are warned Buildings used by Hezbollah militants are being targeted. New weekly unemployment claims at the lowest level in 6 months, 217,000, the 4-week average at 221,000. Wholesale price inflation comes in at 2.4% annually, going by the Labor Department's monthly producer price index. That's up from 1.9%. Price is up 0.2% from September to October, up from 0.1% the month before. America's listening to Fox News.
Have you thought about the causes the brands you support stand behind? Well, Pure Talk supports our veterans. They've relieved $10 million in veteran debt, donated tens of thousands monthly to prevent veteran suicide, and donated $50,000 to Mike Rowe Works, helping to provide scholarships to veterans after active duty. It's time to jump ship from Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. Dial pound 250 and say keyword Pure Talk to save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say Pure Talk.
Police officer and K-9 handler Jacob Russell Chaffins was fatally shot while attempting to serve warrants for domestic violence offenses. And thanks to friends like you and your generosity, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave the Chaffins family the gift of a mortgage-free home. There's so much more to do and to say thank you to our nation's heroes and their families for their immense sacrifices, all for us. Donate $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org.
You may have seen the Bortz billboard all across town. Let everyone know Bortz is back and his new home is Xtra 106.3.
Doug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. Glad that you're here and appreciate you being here. 404-741-1230 if you'd like to check in, like to discuss any of the topics that we've been going through or bring new topics to the show. You're always welcome. You're always part of the Extra 106.3 in the Morning Extra fabric.
Maybe you're just a little lonely and you want to talk to Joe behind the scenes.
Could be that too. 404-741-1230. He's lonely as well.
He's a conversationalist.
Absolutely. And a handsome devil.
You'd be surprised how often that happens.
Yeah.
People just call to talk to you?
Yes.
Show tunes.
About what?
I don't know.
Anything?
Just like, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay.
It's happened a couple times.
That's
I'm like,
great. and you just go back and forth a little bit?
Yeah. Or they're like, just put this in their ear and, you know.
Pass this along.
Pass this along.
Okay. I love
they
that.
They just want their thoughts to be heard.
Okay.
And I am a listening ear.
You're a sounding board.
Yes.
I love that.
God, you annoy me.
I think it's terrific.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize my mic was on. I just heard it in my ear. Sorry about that. No, not you,
Don't
Joe.
worry, I'll turn it off.
Yeah. Look at there. Look at there.
I would like to think of Joe as like your political priest.
Yeah.
Just need to talk.
Yeah.
Political
That's all. Just need to
I think
talk.
this is a good thing because you know
it is.
Joe's a little liberal. So if you're liberal and you're crying and you got all these tears going and all that, don't cry.
I wouldn't cry.
I wouldn't cry.
I wouldn't cry.
I wouldn't cry.
Call Joe. Call Joe and he'll work you through it. He knows what it's like.
It's like a verbal massage. You'll love it.
Come on, he lives in his mom's basement, so
A
he gets
political
it.
priest and a verbal massage.
Verbal
Buddy,
massage.
that's good. That's 2 for 2, man. I don't know if you came up with those or you've been sitting on those a while, but that's 2 for 2, right? I mean, those are strong. In the wake of Hurricane Helene and Milton, SunTrust, what am I saying? They're not even SunTrust anymore. They're Truist.
Wow.
Good Lord.
SunTrust?
Well, it was
Did
so...
Mike write that again?
Yeah, no, that was all me. No, it was all me.
Dude, why are you doing that?
Yeah, because
He can't
he
hear.
does it enough on his own. He don't need me to pile on. You know? Truist Bank and their employees used to be SunTrust back in the day. And their employees, they've been working hard to help all the communities affected by those 2 storms. And to date, they've gathered and donated more than 15 tractor-trailer loads of non-perishable food, water, cleaning supplies, and so much more. And they continue to provide prepared meals for the citizens of Greenville and Asheville and work hard to deploy mobile branches to the hardest hit areas, plus having donated over $2 million from the Truist Foundation to their disaster relief partners. But there's more to come, and Truist's purpose remains to inspire and build better lives and communities. Find out more ways that you can help at your local Truist branch or online at truist.com.
Mike Key has made up days of the week.
I know.
His paperwork.
I know.
He's
Believe
like,
me.
this is Thurford.
Yeah.
What?
It's what?
Yeah,
Thurford Day.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Rhino's not
Like
joking.
what?
Moses is not joking. Like everything, you have to pre-read everything, and sometimes it just gets handed to me last minute.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, read this." I don't have time to pre-read it or anything, and I screw up enough on my own. But when then Mike throws in 4 or 5 curveballs that I got to figure out how to work around.
I sometimes wonder if he travels interdimension in his head. through time, different realities. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
By the way, Truist doing a great job. They also don't skip anybody that has a Trump flag outside. They're there to help everybody, which is great about Truist.
That's much better than FEMA.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest. If
Private
you
industry.
Want, that's exactly right, man. That's 100% right. All right, so they're melting down. At least a lot of people are melting down. I guess not everybody, but a lot of people are melting down over Matt Gaetz and the nomination for AG. And I can't get enough of it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I don't know what the ultimate plan is, but whatever it is, I do believe Donald Trump has thought this out well. And Matt Gaetz is a no-nonsense guy. He is on the side of America and Americans. And that's what it takes for me.
Look, when Paul Whelan says, I can't imagine a worse pick for Attorney General than Matt Gaetz, sign me up. When they say this is a guy who's never worked in the federal government and not been a part of the bureaucracy and never been a federal prosecutor, sign me up. This is exactly the guy we want. This is a guy who, number one, doesn't take any money from any other lobbyists or any other companies to do his job. He's there for the American people. He's a bulldog, and he is not afraid, much like Carlos, to say what needs to be said.
Andy McCabe over on CNN says Matt Gaetz is obviously wholly unqualified for this job. He's someone, I mean, quite frankly, that couldn't get hired by the FBI if he ever had interest in that, which I'm sure he never was, but probably couldn't qualify for a clearance. Like, what a meandering thing to say.
This is delusion.
I mean, these people are melting down, Los.
We are 10 days removed, and we're now seeing the fallout of this broke people. And the more that this administration continues to add people to it, the further the breaking occurs. We've now gotten to the point where they haven't gotten through the election yet. They're still dealing with that. They're still trying to figure out how they're going to win Pennsylvania. Beyond that, now their newest thing is, well, I have a problem with the terms of service of X, of Twitter, so I'm leaving now.
Don Lemon.
So they're leaving in part because they can't handle the fact that they got their butts kicked in an election.
And they have to take it, and they have to get those punches coming from people that they don't love, don't know, and don't respect.
So they're now all looking for, like, where do I go hide out?
Yeah.
This is what they've transitioned to. And now
Joy Reid's added her name to the list, too, this morning.
They will be sniping from these weird places, these little troll areas of the internet. I'm like, if your points were so good, you'd be fine on X. All right? If your points were so good,
or on
you'd be fine on network television.
Yeah. Look, this is a bulldog that we need in there. And I think John Thune is part of the reason why Donald Trump has offered and said, hey, you've got my support, because we need to make sure that we fundamentally and get the time to go ahead and get our appointments done so we can start working right away to save this country for the American people. Matt Gaetz is one of those people. They could say whatever they want. They could talk about the ridiculous, trumped-up accusations. But if I want somebody who is going to go into the Department of Justice and be the attorney general that we need in this country, it's someone like Matt Gaetz. Now, they're going to play the games. Don't think this is going to end. They're going to, especially the Democrats on the Senate side, this is just him to get back at his political opponents. They're going after all of his people. This is exactly the Nazi and the fascist and authoritarian appointment that they're going for. No, this is about returning everything to the American people.
When you tell me, well, this is a terrible pick, look at how ridiculous this pick is, that just confirms it for me that much harder. The moment it hit the internet, I texted you guys saying the left is losing their minds. Matt Gaetz is the pick.
Yeah.
And one of the first people that I saw was Geraldo Rivera.
Oh, that was great.
Jerry Rivers losing his mind.
Gosh.
And as soon as I saw that, I knew you've hit the nail on the head with this pick. When they start to go crazy, when John Bolton is like, well, that's a terrible pick.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly what I needed. That's exactly who I needed to say that was a terrible pick.
No, he said it's the worst nomination.
Oh, yeah, the worst nomination ever. Great.
Yes.
I'm like, yep, go ahead, nominate him
Don't
now.
y'all think this is Trump drawing a line in the sand a bit, saying, you just, meaning the American people, just gave me a mandate, both the Electoral College and the popular vote. You handed me both the Senate and the House. This is Trump going, I dare you.
Yeah.
Because you're going against what the American people have said they wanted in record numbers.
I think if you really look deeply into Trump's picks and everything from J.D. Vance, who was a Trump critic, he brought him aboard and said, this is exactly who I want. They don't think the same in a lot of ways. J.D. Vance is very anti-corporation, very working-class family. That's why he brought him in. When you look at Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., you see the diversity. When you look at a John Thune or a Mike Johnson, you go, not quite the Trump guys I would thought. There's a reason he's doing this. He's bringing the entire unity to this entire party. Matt Gaetz is just one of the people that's not part of that group. He's part of another group. He's bringing all different voices into this government, and they just happen to be voices that support the people and the ideas of the people.
Let's say that I rolled out of bed. I didn't follow any politics, but I had just some general guidelines as to how I operate.
Good morning, Chip.
And one of them would be, whatever Meghan McCain says, I go the opposite way.
Right.
And she was one of the first people. This is embarrassing. This is horrible with Matt Gaetz. All right. I know which way the wind's blowing for me.
Yeah.
Yes. Anything that you are against, I'm absolutely 100% for.
And something that we brought up earlier about people not supporting the nominees getting primaried, Tommy Tuberville said the same thing about Matt Gaetz. He's like, if you're a Senate Republican and you don't support Matt Gaetz, we're going to primary you.
Yeah.
Like, he's laid it out there. He's making no bones about it. And I love that about Tommy Tuberville. Man, I sure didn't like him when he was the Auburn coach.
Oh, no.
Because
Garbage.
Well, for me, I was fine with it. But I was never going to cheer for him because he was on the opposite team. But now that he's on my team, I love cheering for Tommy Tuberville.
But again, Tommy Tuberville has done common sense legislation and supported common sense legislation, especially when it came to our armed services. He wanted to make sure that our members are safe, and he wants to make sure this country is going in the right direction of being handed back over to the people instead of the bureaucrats on the other side. And that's what Matt Gaetz represents to Tommy Tuberville. He may not be the most popular guy in the House. That's fine. You don't want somebody who's popular. You want a Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's why she's staying in Congress. She's not being a cabinet. She's not going to be a cabinet member because Trump knows I need her there. I need her to be that bulldog. Matt Gaetz, he is somebody who has been weaponized against, and all these BS ethics charges and human trafficking lies and all the other stuff. It's all nonsense. So why not put someone in who's ready to look and say, hey, he's a lawyer, by the way. So people who are like, he's not even a real lawyer. No, he's not a federal prosecutor. Good. Yeah, he is a real lawyer, a private lawyer, but whatever. This is a really, really good pick as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm going to be honest. Two of my favorite people when it comes to this is Ashley Moody in Florida, one of the best attorney generals in the nation. Terrific. The other one, Eric Schmidt out of Missouri. This guy now, he's a senator now, so I understand maybe why, but in reality, this guy has fought the Biden administration since day one, put together every big fight that was unconstitutional, whether it was student debt and all the others, and he won them all with the support of every other attorney general. That would have been a great pick by Trump.
But that was the disappointing factor when Schmidt took his name out of consideration a few days ago, because I immediately was like, he has taken on this administration head on. He's beaten them in federal court. He's the one who launched so much of the attacks when it came down to how do we get them out of our social media from influencing that. And so, yeah, I'm with you. Like, there's a handful that I'm like, any of these three, I'm completely on board with.
Now, look, if maybe Gaetz doesn't get confirmed, maybe Eric Schmidt will be like, okay, I doubt it. I think he's doing a great job as a senator. I think it's his strong suit right now. But boy, what I love him.
Terrific.
But Ashley Moody, that's the other one.
She's terrific.
Boy, has she done everything that needed to be done in Florida, and she also jumped aboard along with some of the others. Chris Carr is one of the ones who also jumped aboard. I'm not saying that. Look, I love Chris Carr. I think he's a great dude. I just don't think he's ready for that role. I think he needs to be here in this state and working for this state. But I would love to see him, but I want Matt Gaetz.
The video that kept popping up that I could not quit watching and laughing at, and it was coming from both sides of the aisle. Some people laughing at it like I was, and some people just melting down over it. It was Matt Gaetz. When the reporter said, "Did you say women attending abortion rallies are ugly?" Matt Gaetz with a straight face said, "Yes."
Yes.
Reporter.
That's the new right.
What do you say about those people who think these comments are offensive? be offended. And then he turns around and walks off. It's so good.
So you know that very overweight animal, what's her name? I can't even remember her name. Olivia Giuliani or whatever, they had her come up. I mean, she ran for office. She's crazy. Crazy
Okay,
as can be.
know. Yeah, let me look her up.
Oh, she made her statement. Matt Gaetz just made fun of me, calling me fat and all this. And, at that time, too, he was like, well, you are. Like, there's no denying it.
Okay,
Olivia Julian.
Yeah.
This is a woman who is, like, so upset. And these are the kind of people, like, I don't care. You know what? I'm sorry that you're ugly. I'm sorry that you're fat. I'm sorry that you're these things. It is what it is. If you can't handle it, this is what I love about the new right, Carlos. Don't sit back and play the games and get the virtue signal and get all emotional. No, just stay the course like Matt Gaetz.
You want from the teacher's lounge to tell me about all the things I'm supposed to be offended by. And so I've played a little bit of your game, but now that I'm putting it in your face, you then can't pretend suddenly that everything is so incredibly offensive. Because you've been offending me with the way that you believe this world should operate, where you can't even say, hey, there's two sexes, or here's what's going on around the world. Like there's aspects that I'm not going to play along with you anymore. I played your game for a little bit. Now I'm not going to do it anymore. That's just how it's going to be.
But we're still willing to play a little bit. Like, we're cool with some of the trans people. Like, we're not like they want to point it out that we're transphobic always. We're cool. We're cool. There are certain situations where we go, now we're not cool. You're talking about kids. You're dressing like an 8-year-old girl. You're trying to get in front of 8-year-old girls.
I think it's all crazy.
You're creepy and you're really scary. I mean, it's a different story.
Like, if I was to point out that for
and you're a man,
a large amount of women who are telling me, "Oh my God, I can't abort a baby. I'm gonna be raped." I'm like, let's be very honest. No one wants to rape you. All right?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh,
okay. Because as Matt Gaetz is telling you, I'm sorry. No one's actually looking to do this to you.
Yeah.
And is that hard to hear, that you're an unattractive person?
Oh, look.
No one looks at you as a sexual being?
Probably. I would like to say, and the only reason, Tug, you weren't here on that Thursday, but Carlos and I were ahead of the 4B thing before anybody else in the nation. We started talking about it right away. And now I love how this is turning out, because all these women who have shaved their head, cancer patients, are saying, so we're not sexy because we don't have hair. So now they're going on it. And, it was really funny. I thought Glenn Beck yesterday when I was listening to him, he goes, I want these women to know, like, number one, it is insulting to anybody who's gone through chemotherapy to say you're not sexy and that's how you're not sexy anymore, to shave your head. We don't look at that. We look at your boobs and butt. And it was just so funny to hear Glenn Beck say something like that. Shave your head. I've never looked at your face anyway.
Oh, that's even more demeaning. All right. Take a listen to Matt Gaetz as he very plainly tells you how it is.
Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
I love it.
And then does a drop step, an about face.
See you later.
Adios, amigo.
That's so big gulps, huh?
Yeah.
Well, see you later.
See, but this is the great part about really caring about what you do and not caring about whatever else. Not being afraid. Like, I'm not afraid to lose my job, number one, because I think we have great support with David Dickey, that if Carlos and I say something that some people might think are offended, they're going to stand up for us. And they're going to say, hey, don't be offended. You can't be offended. It's not a big deal. Get over it. And that's what we need to do. We need to reprogram any of these victims of the woke mind virus, because I feel bad sometimes for Democrats that they're so miserable or they've allowed this to happen to themselves. But at the same time, I don't feel bad. So you're not going to come to me with your little virtue signal and say, hey, you're misgendering me. I'm a woman. I'm like, no, you're not, dude. You're a man. Enjoy your day. You look great to yourself, but nobody else. Go away. I don't care anymore.
4 years ago, I had a complaint email that management brought to my attention. And by the time I was done explaining that, I told that woman, because she has a large daughter, she was not impressed by the way I called into question Stacey Abrams' weight, and that maybe she should take some more personal responsibility in that regard. When she was all upset about it and management asked me to explain myself, I said, well, so she's upset because she has a large daughter? Yeah, I was like, well, maybe she should take some more personal responsibility by feeding her better as a parent.
Yeah, done.
And that was the moment where they're like, you need to head over to X.
Yeah. But you need to be down the hall.
She's big boned, Carlos.
So funny.
You don't know.
You don't understand. My daughter has this. well, then maybe you should take her diet more seriously.
She was born fat. No, she was overfed when she was a baby.
404-741-1230. Marty is on the line, wants to talk about the 4B movement. Marty, what's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, good morning, guys. I appreciate you being on the radio. I listen to you when there's nothing else better.
It's a weird backhanded compliment, Marty, but thank you.
That's awesome.
I only get one station, so I'm stuck with you guys. Thank you, Marty.
Welcome.
Hey, I just want to say to all the 4B women, thank you. Thank you for thinking of others and sacrificing and not procreating for the rest of us. Thank you so much.
There you go.
Absolutely right. Look, that was my first, when we talked about this the other day, this is the best benefit that we could ever get for women who should not be having children and don't want to have. You're literally making the abortion thing easy for us. You're taking personal responsibility by saying, you know what? I don't want to get pregnant in a world where I can't have an abortion, so I'm not going to have sex. Welcome to what we've been telling you.
Nice
How about some personal responsibility? Oh, and by the way, I don't care if you're bald. I'm still looking at your butt and boobs like Glenn Beck said.
Morning Xtra on Xtra 106.3. When we continue, alt media helped secure Trump's return to the White House and now are getting a seat at the table. That discussion next after headlines on Xtra 106.3. 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors. They are giving a roof away to a deserving family that is in a tough economic situation. If you know a family that needs a new roof on their home but can't afford to do it, Southern Exteriors wants to do it for them free. So if you can nominate them, go to southernexteriors.co. The website again, southernexteriors.co, to make that nomination right now. The legend Neil Bortz is only on Xtra 106.3. Hey, it's Tug, and here's what you missed from the Talkmaster.
If I had a wish for you, I would wish that you had a friend like Bernie Marcus, the founder of Home Depot, who passed away. What he did for Atlanta and Georgia is unmeasurable. A great man. I'll miss him dearly. So will the entire state.
Catch Neil's commentary every day on Xtra 106.3 or listen anytime on the Xtra 106.3 app.
Join Braves Vacations for some exciting road trips to historic cities and ballparks during the 2025 season. Fans can enjoy 3 games at Fenway Park in Boston to watch the Braves take on the Red Sox May 15th through the 19th. Or head to Wrigley Field for 3 games against the Chicago Cubs August 31st through September 3rd. Road trip packages include deluxe hotel accommodations, game tickets, exclusive events with Braves team personnel, unique excursions, select meals, optional airfare, and more. Visit Braves.com/vacation to learn more.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, The Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Xtra 106.3.
To understand what makes Diamonds Direct different, you have to understand our history. It goes back 60 years to a renowned diamond cutter overseas. From there came years of diamond cutting, manufacturing, and wholesaling, supplying exquisite fine diamonds only to high-end jewelers. Then eventually the wholesalers started selling direct to the public, and that started a revolution. Today, we are a global diamond powerhouse with hundreds of thousands of customers and an impeccable reputation. But our core values are the same as always. Our diamonds are the highest quality cut by the best craftsmen. Our prices are the most compelling. Our selection is staggering. Our warranties and guarantees are rock solid. And our people are laser focused on helping you find the diamond of your dreams. So as the story unfolds, as the revolution continues, we invite you to experience a jewelry shopping experience unlike any other. Born in excellence, rooted in determination, and thriving in passion. Diamonds Direct. Showroom hours, directions, and more online at diamondsdirect.com. Proud to call ATL home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
As an official community partner of the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Braves Foundation, the Warrior Alliance connects warriors and their families to free services such as health and wellness, housing, employment, education, legal services, and so much more. We need your financial support to increase our impact and change thousands of lives for those who served in the U.S. Armed Forces. It takes more than just thank you for your service. Make a donation to help warriors navigate to success after service. Go to thewarrioralliance.org/donate and make a difference today.
What's up, Atlanta? It's Ben Burnett, host of the Weekend Ben Burnett Show. Each and every weekend, right here on Extra 106.3, we unpack all the week's events. We talk about all the issues with a local Atlanta-based flavor. You can catch me each and every weekend, Saturdays at 2 and Sundays at noon. If you ever miss an episode, you can go to the podcast park or wherever you download all of your content, and I'll be right there. Thanks for listening to the Ben Burnett Show, proudly brought to you by Butler Snow.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly, Cobb's premier lifestyle magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, and community businesses like Truffles Vein Specialist.
Hi, I'm Holly with Truffles Vein Specialist. We have 5 locations across Atlanta, and even better, our West Cobb location is able to offer same-day appointments right now. We're proud to have been voted Best of Georgia in health and medical time and time again. We specialize in diagnosing and treating DVT or blood clots in the legs and venous insufficiency. If you have leg pain, swelling, heavy or achy legs, bulging varicose veins, spider veins, or pelvic pain, reach out. We'd love to help. We accept most health insurance plans and many treatments are covered. Plus, we offer free vein screenings at all locations. For more information, call us at 678-833-1444 or visit trufflesveinspecialist.com.
Wow, Holly, sign me up. We just love our advertising partners. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines. Presented by RBM of Atlanta, your Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Good morning. Here are your top stories in the state of Georgia for today, Thursday, November 14th. Republicans have won enough seats in the U.S. House to maintain control. Juan Ciscomani defeated Kirsten Engel in Arizona's 6th district, securing the 218th seat for the GOP. This victory completes the Republican Party's sweep into power, ensuring their control of the House, Senate, and the presidency alongside President Donald Trump. 2 linemen were working on a project near Spalding and Little Streets in Griffin when an equipment failure led to a tragic accident. 1 lineman was killed and another suffered serious, life-threatening injuries. The city of Griffin has identified the deceased as Eric Weems and the injured lineman as Trent Granger, who remains in critical but stable condition at the hospital. In sports, Falcons quarterback Kirk Cousins was included on the team's injury report yesterday after being sacked 3 times and hit 9 times in the Falcons' loss to the Saints on Sunday. Cousins is listed with injuries to his right elbow and shoulder. Despite the injuries, he participated in the team's walkthrough on Wednesday in preparation for Sunday's game against the Denver Broncos. With your headlines, Scott Rhino, Trump 106.3.
Doug Rhino and Losan, the Morning Extra. 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors. If you nominate right now, nominate a family that needs a new roof for the holidays, they can't afford to get the roof repaired or replaced, Southern Exteriors wants to do it for them. So nominate a family at southernexteriors.co. If you know a family that's deserving, that is just some good folks that have fallen on tough times and they can't get the roof repaired or roof replaced, nominate them now. southernexteriors.co, southernexteriors.co. Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra. 404-741-1230 is the number, at Extra 106.3 across the social media platforms. We've talked about this probably more than anybody else, in the fact that alternative media has propelled Donald Trump into the White House again. And now those media outlets are going to be given more access to the White House daily briefings. Donald Trump is making sure of that. He is making it clear that these people matter. These people are people that I can rely on, people that gave me a fair shot, people that gave me a platform in front of their audience when mainstream media was doing nothing that more than tear me down. And he's going to credential a bunch of these alternative media outlets. And you know who's really pissed about it? CNN, Politico, BBC, the New York Times, and all of the Axios. Yeah, Axios is reporting that a bunch of these alternative outlets are planning to apply for credentials. Now, there's only a certain amount of... Yeah, me too. There's only a certain amount of seats in the room, right?
Yeah.
And that just means that some days those outlets that I just told you about being upset about it are going to be shut out because they didn't get there early enough. They don't have a designated seat to be there on particular days. it is going to work against them, and they hate it.
We've been talking about this for so long now. It seems like, when we said X is going to be the new one that people are going to go to and watch when DeSantis was trying to launch his campaign on there. This has changed, and I love this. Alternative media should get, because they're the most popular, and whoever wants to be a part of this, you're obviously it's going to be very hard for you to get credentialed to be part of the press, the pool, but look, there are some things I would love to see get done. I was just talking to Tug before saying I would love to see President Trump say, Joe Rogan, you're now a commissioner of the FCC. Let's get this set straight. There are a lot of things that we should do with the media to make sure that we have fair and balanced media. I don't care if CNN's there, but if you start lying, you should be thrown out.
The media is just altered. What happened during the last 20 years is it became an entertainment game. And so the idea of trying to give people decent information in order to make a decision, that went away. And so when that started showing up in alternative media, albeit a 50-year-old comedian who just so happens to support Bernie Sanders and used to host Fear Factor.
Yeah.
That's what it
That's
took.
how I knew him.
Somebody having a discussion where we're going to talk about both sides and do it over a longer period of time. That became the alternative media that's now the standard because of what has gone on with the entertainment media.
Why didn't you do that on air, please?
This is Joe Rogan.
I love when you do that. Yeah, look, this is...
You don't know about me, Joe Rogan.
This is so good.
Yeah, this is the new world. This is the fair world. This is where we want to have alternate voices. I don't like liberal media most of the time because it's all full of lies. But there is a place for, if there are actually fair and balanced people that could question their own party without feeling afraid of actually questioning them because they've been, held to that standard, like, don't question us or we'll turn on you as quick as possible. I would like to see more people who are alternate media. But I think that's why Jeff Bezos and them started looking real quick saying, hey, along with, Polymarket and everybody else, we see where this is going. Trump's going to win. We need to be more fair and balanced. If we want to stay in this game, we need to be fair.
CNN is at least giving you Scott Jennings, all right? You don't have that on MSNBC. Now, there's a place for all of this. If you just want to go over to your trough, and I've fired up the trough this morning so I can see what's going on Morning Joe, fine, then you have it. That's your level of entertainment. That's what it's supposed to be. But don't portray yourself as news. That's the issue I believe that a lot of us have with it. When I fire up NPR, what I'm essentially getting is left-wing propaganda that is taxpayer-funded and pretends that they're straight, balanced news. It's not.
And now, with only 49 seats in the James Brady Press briefing room, even though you got a credential, you might not have a seat. And those people that will be propelled into more of a spotlight, those people there's going to be people that are asking questions like, who are these outlets that I don't recognize? When I see the Binder give a press conference, I don't recognize who's in the front row,
Like, I am not news.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the view of what is going on today based on how I see the world. I am not news.
Yeah.
But CNN tries to pretend that they're news and they're not.
You're
Same with
honest about
MSNBC,
it.
yes.
Right. And, a lot of the reporters, obviously, they've gotten to the point where they've understood how alternative media is so important that they've tried to become characters or get fame on those kind of those kind of platforms. I would love to see this just totally flip-flop. I want to see Peter Doocy as the press secretary. More than anything else, out of any appointment, I want to see Peter Doocy as press secretary. I just think it would be a lot of fun. Flip-flop from Karine Jean-Pierre to Peter Doocy, who I think is brilliant. I really do. And I think he could deal with the media because he knows them so well. But I love the alternative media. I think it should be a part of every White House going forward.
I don't think people would include us in alternative media because we're such a traditional delivery method or mechanism. But we certainly are. Mm-hmm. We are the most minority news outlet there is. How many conservative outlets exist anymore? I mean, there are very few.
There's a reason why, especially local. All right,
Yeah,
you'll
that's the biggest
find
thing.
national programming.
To
find a local conservative media outlet, there's a reason why we keep picking up listeners in like Massachusetts.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, hey, an actual local morning show that talks about local issues and they're conservative in nature. Yes, we are on a radio station, but largely we are consumed through app. And as I've said this for years, If your content's good, people will go find it. That's why we found people listening from around the country.
Yeah, it's really rare. If you do find one in a small town, it's a small town. And it's a small, look, we're not exactly the biggest signal out there, or the biggest stick, as a lot of people call it, but we do get that. Again, we're that alternate media because people would rather listen on their app, no matter what. They don't want to listen on the radio, on FM. I'm glad that a lot of people do, because I love listening to FM and AM radio all day. But the alternative media is the apps. It's the shows. It's the podcasts. It's the things that we do. Janelle King's podcast is brilliant, and I hope that everybody checks it out. Her new one that dropped yesterday is a great example of why we have this alternative media, because she speaks about why the election went the way it did, why black voters did. There's so many good opportunities nowadays.
Just know that CNN for the longest time had this captive audience. They had the airports. And so they were always able to say, look, we're doing like 1.5 million viewers. All right, now that they're basically a 400,000 to 500,000 viewer station, a network that is available around the world, and Joe Rogan's doing 4, 5, 50 million views, depending on what he's put out there. All right, you're small potatoes.
Dude, you can't compete. Yeah, you can compete. And that's the thing. Like, we're not trying to compete with Joe Rogan. We do something completely different. And it just so happens today, maybe we should say the last few months, we've kind of aligned and had some of the same discussion points.
But it's strictly content.
Right.
That's all that it is. It is content. And the fact that we're willing to discuss the things that we are, just as he's willing to discuss the things that he is, just as Tucker's doing what he's doing. If people don't feel like they're giving a strong odor of BS, they'll keep coming back to you. And that's the difference. You have this strong odor of BS that has been largely network programming and network news that tries to portray themselves as news. That's why people are ditching out on it.
Yeah, because it's more fun to be on the opposite side of this, to actually be able to be knowledgeable and talk about it. By the way, a name that just popped into my mind for The View.
Oh, we talked earlier. We were coming up with names and replacements because
I'm a new listener. I wasn't here then.
ABC has decided, we have to make sure that we change and go with the political winds of change. So they've had this group of women that all endorse Kamala Harris. Now for The View and GMA and World News Tonight, they're trying to find more conservative people to put on that show.
Right. I was trying to get to that point there. But yeah, when I was thinking about The View and who I would want to put on there if we were to go and transition it and make it, Roseanne Barr. That's somebody who I think would be fun on The View, that people would tune into. She's become such a conservative hawk. I think she'd be great. Or a press secretary. I think it'll end up being, one of our friends of the shows, Carolyn Levitt, who we've had on many times, who has done this job for a long time. I think Megyn Kelly is being offered, but Peter Doocy is another name. Those 3 names I feel really strong about.
Well, hang on. What was it again?
The press secretary.
Oh, for press secretary.
Yeah,
okay,
but I'm saying Roseanne Barr would be a fun one, too, for press secretary.
Got it.
Throw her up there. I don't know if she has that skill for it, but I think a Peter Doocy, a Megyn Kelly, and all them. But again, they're going to have to deal with that the alternative media. So you do want someone up there that can handle all that. Like Carolyn Levitt's amazing. I think she'll end up being one of them, or Megyn Kelly.
The federal government is going to buck anything that comes along when it comes to cutting budgets and cutting the resources that they use and take advantage of. That's something that I want to see completely done. I know Elon and Vivek are really strong in that, but this is going to be a fight. I love the fact that they're willing to do it, but it's going to be a fight.
1.8 million federal employees. It is the most bloated aspect of our country right now.
Yeah.
It has more employees than everything except for Walmart. It has 300,000 more employees than Amazon, and they're daring you. It's almost like we talk about having that hammer and there's that one nail that's sitting like 3 inches above the board. It's asking you, come hit it. The problem ends up being it's that, are you willing and are you able, do you have the political capital to make 1 million people's jobs go away? Can you backfill them? Can you grow the private sector fast enough that everyone says, good, we shouldn't have 1.8 million federal employees?
But I would say that the American people want to see that. I think the American people are so fed up with knowing that our government is educating. I think I saw something that said the federal government sent $15 million to Egypt to educate Egyptians in college. Not Egyptians that live in the United States, but they're actually in Egypt. That's the kind of waste.
Yeah.
Like, we're not helping our own kids go to school.
No.
The New York Post has a story about our studies of AIDS and transsexual monkeys. All right, like we spend like drunken sailors in these weird ways. But again, those employees are the ones that are basically saying, it's 1.8 million of us. How many are redundant?
Yeah.
I think a lot.
Oh,
I think
so many.
So much redundancy, and it's so good.
I bet 1 million of them could go right now.
Shoot. Let's hope it's more. I hope it's more than that.
Oh, I hope we're down to 20,000.
Gosh. I don't know that we'll get there, but man, it's worth trying and it's worth fighting. Pete Hegseth has already won over veterans. Next on the Morning Extra, 9 o'clock hours brought to you by Southern Exteriors. They're doing a roof giveaway. If you know a deserving family in need of a new roof, but they can't afford it, nominate them today at southernexteriors.co.
From the latest breaking news to the conservative voices you know and trust, your best new follow on social media is Extra 1063. We're at XTRA 1063 on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and LinkedIn, and pretty much any social media you scroll through every day. And we drop exclusive giveaways, new daily content, and the latest breaking news from Georgia and across this great nation. Interact with your favorite Extra personalities. Get the latest on our live events and so much more. Follow at Extra 1063 across all your social media and keep up with Atlanta's only conservative voice.
Hey, it's Los. Let's talk about Howard Brothers and Toro. Have you heard about their new series? This is the Dingo series. They are built to handle the toughest jobs that your yard can possibly come up with. Whether you're digging trenches or maybe you're moving some heavy loads or maybe you're clearing a field. You know how much time that takes in the work that really requires. Well, Toro's got you covered when it comes to those sorts of projects. Toro's Dingo equipment will help you get the job done right with their powerful attachments and the compact design. That's going to make it a lot easier to transport that piece of equipment. You can find Toro's Dingo lineup at your local Howard Brothers. They're your partner for equipment that works as hard as you do. And always remember, the grass is always greener when you take care of it with Toro and with Howard Brothers.
I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but the cold air is coming fast. That means a couple different things to me and you. Energy bills will be rising and company coming over for the holidays. Dan Watkins here with all Four Seasons garage, entry doors, and windows. It's time to get your house ready for the winter air and your holiday visitors. The good news is that we have you covered for every opening in your home. So call us today to set up a free estimate with one of our amazing sales consultants. They'll help you pick out the perfect garage door, front door, and windows for your home.
Tune into your new favorite show that's redefining the A to Z's of marketing, the Marketing Mad Men. We'll take you behind the scenes of successful campaigns and reveal the strategies that win. We're not just talking about marketing, we're making it happen. From viral content creation to leveraging AI for customer engagement, our experts bring you to the cutting edge of industry. This is your playbook for market dominance. Tune in and transform your approach with actionable tips that could skyrocket your ROI. The Marketing Mad Men every Saturday at 4 p.m. right here on Extra 1063.
Hi, my name is Steve from Marietta, and we hired ATL Turfco to build our dream backyard golf setup. They installed a large 4-hole putting green, a sand bunker, a short game area, and did a full conversion to artificial grass around the pool with decorative retaining walls. ATL Turfco was really creative. They were efficient. The installation was a breeze. Price was completely reasonable, and I definitely appreciated their communication throughout the project. I would definitely recommend ATL Turfco to anybody thinking about doing a backyard makeover. You can check them out online right now at atlturfco.com.
Get ready for unfiltered conversations on The Janelle King Show, where we tackle the topics that you won't hear at your family gatherings, but they're absolutely crucial for a strong republic. Don't miss us live every Saturday at 3 p.m. and every Sunday at 9 a.m. right here on Extra 106.3. But if you can't tune in, that's okay. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday on the Podcast Park or wherever you prefer to get your podcasts. Join us for these discussions, and I can't wait to meet you there.
Who doesn't want a great smile? The world seems brighter because it is. Hey, it's a Kimmer. How's it going? You know, that's only one reason to see my dentist, Dr. Dina Giesler at Atlanta Smiles. The other reason, of course, is to take care of your teeth if they're going to make your life miserable. We all know that. But when's the last time you were smiling before you walked in the door like me? Because I know Dr. Dina and her staff are the happiest Kimmer babes you ever saw. We're going to fix me up, and I always take the gas. They tell me my best stories come out that way. And you can actually get a doggy right there napping in my lap, a little doggy. I said, go ahead, work away. Dr. Dina's a Navy vet, ranked a master dentist, which only 1% can say. She's been doing veneers since before anybody even knew what that was. My first visit was 30 years ago. Cosmetic dentistry, cleaning, bridges, crowns, especially keeping your teeth and gums healthy to last as long as you do. Veterans automatic 10% discount. Just tell them when you call. Atlanta Smiles, 404-262-7733. It's atlantasmiles.com. Your new smile's waiting for you. atlantasmiles.com. Tell them the Kemmer sent you. Ask for the doggy. atlantasmiles.com.
Extra 106.3 is proud to be your conservative voice in Atlanta, and we offer a huge slate of original podcasts. Head over to thepodcastpark.com and grab the podcast that you love, all presented by Associated Credit Union.
Tug, Rhino, and Los on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3. Glad that you're here. Final segment, bonus hour. We've gone through so many of Donald Trump's choices this morning for his administration. From Matt Gaetz and the fact that it's rocking the boat, and Rhino and I have laughed at that. Lowe's, we've all laughed at that so much. The fact that people are melting down over it. The one that we didn't get into as much is Tulsi Gabbard, because I think that is one that is going to be so telling. I think that when that nomination process comes down, when they go through the process, I think that is going to be so revealing about what's been going on in our federal government. A woman that has served her country, and yet, because they don't like her politics anymore, they put her on a do not fly list like a terrorist. And when the nomination process gets into full swing, they're literally going to ask those questions. All of that information is going to come out, and it is going to be so damning to the Democrats and to just that whole weaponization of the DOJ, the whole weaponization of the federal government against everyday citizens and political enemies. So that's one that I think you should pay attention to. But I think Pete Hegseth is a guy that is already winning the hearts and minds of our men and women in uniform. Texting back and forth with some guys that I served with in the United States Navy. Some are in, some have just gotten out, some have retired over the last few years. And all of them had the same exact opinion that I did. They, like me, just want to stand up and salute. They love the fact that this dude said anybody promoting this woke S in our military has to go. And all the people that I've served with are so sick and tired of what they saw when they were in or recently retiring and reflecting back on what they saw right before they got out. This is the only way to save our military, and this is the only way to save America. SecDef Hegseth will be a choice that every veteran, I believe, well, every veteran is probably too bold. Yes, exactly. 99% of our veterans can get in behind. He's a guy that you'll want to get in the foxhole with. He is a leader and will demand respect because he's going to do things the right way. And men and women in uniform have been waiting for that and needed that for so long now.
But he's not going to be there for his fellow soldiers, unlike Lloyd Austin, who left 13 people to die in Afghanistan withdrawal. Shut up already with these things. This is starting to annoy me with Democrats. You have no room to talk to me about anything when it comes to the military when you have a man in a dress at the head of it, and this is your idea, or a man in a dog mask. You think I care? No, what I want is a true hero. What I want is a true soldier, and that's exactly who a two Bronze Star recipient is. This man is. He 3 tours. Don't give me any of this. This is a game that they continue to play. I'm so happy that Pete's got this opportunity, and I hope they confirm him quickly.
Your office is complicated. Your college is complicated. Your campus is complicated. The military is not supposed to be complicated.
Not at all.
It is supposed to be very clear cut. It is supposed to be very direct. It's not supposed to have some sort of hoops you're supposed to jump through. The fact that you can't say what you can say in your office, that's because your office is complicated. The military is very much supposed to be, here's what the objective is, here's how we get it done, and here's how you're supplied.
And here's how the chain of command works.
And if you do anything to facilitate making it less complicated, that is a good thing all the way around.
He said you've got to fire the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and obviously you're going to bring in a new Secretary of Defense and general that was involved, general, admiral, whatever, that was involved with any of that DEI woke S has got to go. Either you're in for war fighting and that's it, or you got to go.
What's the one thing you see when you're, in any kind of battle? It's nothing but fellow soldiers. You don't see color. You don't see a guy in a dress. You don't even need any of that. What you need is to just focus on that. And that's why the left has distracted from what we really need in the military, and we need that. This is a really, really good pick. I got to be honest. It's a regular we the people kind of candidate, not some guy who has been decorated because, he went to this college or that college and this college and that college.
But Hegseth, they even did that too, though.
He sure did.
I mean, Yale and
but
Harvard.
he's just perfect in policy and ideas and everything else. They don't like that.
Well, let's just be very honest. It doesn't matter if you happen to be working in an office, driving a truck, or you're in the military. There's really three things. Train me, supply me, set me up for success.
Yep.
That's it. That's what people ask for. That's when you respect your leadership, when they do those three things for you. I don't care if you're driving a truck or you're in the military. When you feel like you have that sort of backing, then you have the opportunity for success. I shouldn't be having to worry about, okay, and by the way, we're going to have 2 weeks of pronoun training. Yeah. That doesn't help me take off the head of an enemy, all right? That's just how that goes. That's the sort of stuff that we're talking about eliminating.
I remember working for the captain of the USS South Carolina, Captain Brown, and there were times where he would ask me to do something directly. And in my back of my head, I'm like, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
But I never questioned it in the fact that I was like, if he said it, I'm getting it done because I had that much respect for him. Even when I didn't understand the end goal, even when I may not even agree, I was like, man, this is so petty. Why are we doing it? In the back of my head. But my military bearing said, yes, sir, and the job got done. And later down the road, you could always reflect back and be like, got it. That builds trust. That builds reliability in your servicemen and servicewomen. When you tell them to do something, and in that moment when they don't like it or they don't agree with it, of course their military bearing is going to shine because we are the best trained military in the world. But when they can reflect back and see the progress or see the reason that they're successful, much like you're describing in the world of business, that builds a military force that cannot be deviated, they cannot be defeated, and they won't be because they're behind their commanding officers 110% because they know they're going to be successful. They're set up for success.
But, Tug, they're yelling at me and making me feel uncomfortable, and I don't feel safe, and I can't do 25 push-ups. Like, I'm so tired of the whole idea of what you need to bring this to. No, what made it successful is what it was. Keep it that way. Pete Hegseth is one of those guys. Oh, he's a Christian nationalist. He's got tattoos. You have a man in a dress. Don't talk to me about any of this.
I think about when you're in the Navy, and you've talked about this before, Tug, how everyone is trained in order to fight fire because
there's no fire department out to sea.
You're a sailor, and suddenly you are the fire department. Everybody has to learn. Everybody has to know what their roles are and how to handle a fire on a ship. All right. Now add in, I need you to learn how to load the tampon dispensary in the men's room. And you see how these things don't make any sense where you just go, but hold on, I got to learn how to fight fire, plus I need to learn. Okay, this is not important over here. Survival of the ship versus this.
That's exactly
but
right.
The funny part is Tug would be like, yes, sir.
Well, you have to.
These tampons up in the men's room, you
right
idiot.
now, that's the kind of crap that's happening.
Yeah.
Hegseth went on to say in this interview that he did with the Sean Ryan show, he said, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying, and you have to reestablish that trust that I was talking about by putting no-nonsense warfighters in those positions, back to your point, who aren't going to crater to socially correct garbage. It's exactly what our military needs and exactly what Pete Hegseth will bring to our military. There's a reason that veterans are rallying around this.
Recognize that we are basically having to step in with men like this, like Pete Hegseth and other men across this cabinet and in this administration to fix what they broke with the teachers' lounge.
Yeah.
We're just getting things back to standards that have been around for 100 years, and we're having to now go, wait a minute, we have to get it back because of how far you push things in a weird way.
Yeah, thank God we're getting rid of weird and bringing back normal, bringing back common sense, bringing back true patriots.
No doubt. But that's the funny thing is, right? Remember, it was J.D. Vance is the weird one.
Yeah.
It's that the adults are back in the White House with Kamala and Joe Biden.
Yeah, and a man in a dress.
And nothing was further
Stealing
from the
from
truth. Now we can hopefully get it done.
Yep, and I think we will.
9 o'clock hour brought to you by Southern Exteriors. Nominate a deserving family for a new roof. if they're in a financial situation where they can't afford it, southernexteriors.co is where you make that nomination for Rhino, for front office Los, for everybody that called and board up, Goey Virgin River, who talks to some people who just called to get his opinion. And we're glad that it happens. We think it's amazing. It's fantastic for him, too. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Hey, it's Flounder, and The Kimmer Show is live every afternoon from 3 to 6 p.m.
Leonardo DiCaprio, huh? Oh, he's 50.
Someone pointed out yesterday that it's the movie Inception, which is about dreams.
Yeah.
That thing where he's married.
Yeah.